Remember, it is the teamwork that makes the dream work. Aloha, shifters, light guardians, multidimensional friends within this holographic matrix. This is Brendon, aka Skull Babylon, Mystic Spider-Man, Wolf Shield, welcoming you back once again to another very exciting, inspirational, community-created Paradigm Shift Central Synergy Circle for Sunday, October 27th, 2019. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Maybe this is your first time. Maybe you've been here a few times. I'll give you a quick introduction in terms of what it is that we are doing, what it is that we are creating here. And I'm super excited to be able to help introduce you to some of the fellow conscious media creators and leaders that we have here within this broadcast. So for everybody who is here, quickly just gently unmute your microphones. Let's make some noise and send some love to all the amazing people tuned into this who are a part of the team too. So go ahead, gently unmute yourself, make some noise, go.
Meow.
Pika, pika. Cool. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here, leading members here on the broadcast, and for those of you in the chat as well. If you are tuned into this, you are a part of the team. You are part of the story that we are creating here together through Paradigm Shift Central. For those of you who are tuned in on YouTube, if you can drop an 1111 in the live chat, make sure that the audio is sounding okay. If at any point the audio sounds a little off, if you feel like it's like kind of popping or anything, let me know. You guys are a part of the tech team that can help me fix that really quickly. And before we get into this, I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction in terms of what to be able to expect from this broadcast, what the intention is of this synergy circle. So Paradigm Shift Central, this is a project that we began 10 years ago, and it started off as a single club in my college way back in the day, and the intention was about being able to help bring people together to practice talking about the things that we don't normally get a chance to talk about related to spirituality, metaphysics, self-empowerment, the power of the conscious mind, and how to be able to help change the world. That is essentially the objective of this project, to be able to encourage and support fellow creators and leaders, to inspire people to help make the difference in the world, to choose to be the change that they wish to see. The emphasis being on choice. It is a choice, and we here as a community are making that choice together. So this project has continued to evolve over the years, and out of this evolvement, it has become a portal for conscious media creation. You can check that out at paradigmshiftcentral.com. And through this, we also have these ongoing broadcasts, which are our synergy circles. We also have other types of broadcasts, global meditations, our dream class, where we talk a lot about lucid dreaming and metaphysics and astral dimensions and all of that cool stuff. But with the synergy circles, the intention of this, I want you to kind of like realize that what we are creating here as a narrative, as a story, is about being able to help bring people together. This is about being able to help bring people back to the round table. And I really want you to kind of feel the energy of that archetype, the idea of like the Arthurian mythos of being able to bring together the knights, the light guardians, the shifters. And what is a shifter? A shifter is someone who is intentionally helping assist with a shift in consciousness through acts of creativity and compassion. If that sounds like you, then yes, it is, because you're in the right spot and you found this broadcast for a reason. We also use the term light guardian is another term that we use, but whatever term you want to use, hackers within this holographic matrix, it is all relative. And so through this broadcast, what we're going to do, we're going to talk throughout the circle. We're going to use this opportunity to share the inspiration of what it is that we are creating as individuals, the ways of which the people here in the circle are helping shift consciousness, and give you a chance to get to meet these fellow leading members within the community. Thinking about this as like building essentially a real world team of superheroes, and each and every single one of us here is a superhero. You are a superhero if you're listening to this, and the most important superpower that you have is the power of the heart, is the power of the mind. And so out of this, I am super excited to be able to help introduce you to some of the creators that we have here in this broadcast. And we've got a variety of people with their own individual superpowers, and that's the idea. And through this story, for the people listening to this, not only are we documenting the shift in consciousness, but we are helping accelerate it. We want you to be able to take the inspiration out of this and to bring it with you into your everyday life, to have those conversations, to be able to say yes to things like, I am here to express my creativity. I am here to become an entrepreneur and to devote myself to being able to help assist with the shift in consciousness by sharing my art, by sharing my voice, by facilitating community. So within this project, I'll just explain this last part real quick, and then we'll start passing the talking stick around the circle. Again, we encourage people that if they are media creators, that if they are any sort of, leader of any kind, to please connect with us, sync up. We have a team chat that you can connect to. The info for that is in the YouTube link down below. You'll see the link. It says connect to the team chat. So if you're inspired by this and you haven't already, please feel free to connect to the team chat and join with us there. And of course, you can also contribute to the project by supporting on Patreon. Patreon is a website where people support artists and projects with monthly micro donations, and people supporting on Patreon are also being able to be invited into these on-air broadcasts as leading members, and additional perks such as being able to help get your content published to the global audience, plus being able to work alongside myself and the team to be able to help develop your skills as a conscious media creator, and so much more. So you can check out the Patreon link down below, and a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters as well. You help make this possible. And so again, as we move into this, please feel free to check the other links. Connect to me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification on YouTube at Skull Babylon. Go back, check out past broadcasts, see what else we've been creating, and tune in for future broadcasts. I will just mention real quick that for those of you who are familiar with this project, this is the first time in a long time that we've switched into doing these broadcasts on Sundays. We've been traditionally doing them on Thursdays, but after, again, kind of reflecting on what is needed from us as a community and knowing that a lot of people are more available at this time of the day, we're going to feel how this one goes, and then from there, we're going to decide, and we may just keep doing them on Sundays if this is what works best for everyone, because the intention here is to bring together as many people as we can during the ceremony, during the sacred space that we are creating here through these broadcasts. So thank you again, everyone. If you haven't already yet, hit that like button on YouTube, share this video on Facebook if you're watching it there, and get comfortable, jump in the live chat, add your voice to the discussion, and I'm happy to be able to introduce you to more of the creators that we have here on the team. So real quick, I'll just share some of my updates, and then from there, we're going to pass it over. I'd like to be able to actually pass it over to Michael Doyle will be the first person. Michael, can you give me a thumbs up if that's cool with you? Because I know you're going to be having to head out soon. We're going to be passing over to Michael Doyle. And so just a quick update. Again, that's kind of like what we're doing as we're going around the circle here. We're going to share individually like a quick introduction of who we are and the ways that we're helping shift consciousness, projects that we're working on, ways that you, the audience, can connect with us, and anybody here that you share on here in the broadcast, you'll be able to connect to their profiles through the links down below. So know that anytime you tune into a synergy circle, it's a chance for you to be able to be like, sweet, here are some more amazing people that I can follow, be connected with, and be inspired by, because everyone here is like a top-notch creator, and I'm super honored to be able to have them here at the circle, in our synergy circle, at the round table. So quick updates in terms of what I've been doing to be able to help assist with the shift in consciousness. For those of you who recently saw on YouTube, I posted up a video of me doing a talk at an event called Mo Mondays. And so again, with the mindset of what we are cultivating here as a team, as shifters, a big part of it is being able to help bring higher conscious ideas into mainstream culture. And so Mo Mondays, huge shout out to them and Kevin Bulmer and all the people involved there. Mo Mondays is an ongoing inspirational talk event that happens once a month, and they have 3 people talk on stage and share a story. And so I've been helping out with this community of filming behind the scenes, and then Kevin, the host of it, he invited me to do a talk. And so for me, you know, he already knows who I am. He's like, okay, you're Mystic Spider-Man. You're the guy who's like out there doing free hugs. And of course, for those of you who haven't met me yet, like, yes, that's a part of what I do. Like, I do a lot of like video making. I make free hugs video, and I encourage other people to do that. I give out shift buttons and, again, remind people the superpower of the heart. And so this was kind of my story. So I went up on stage, and I just kind of like, it was such a visceral experience to be able to be up there. And I had my notes kind of written out, and it's kind of like my origin story. And I really encourage you to go check it out. But the big thing in it was me kind of explaining not just what I do, but why I do what I do. And a quick tip for those of us here, fellow leaders within the community, and for all of you listening, a big thing that I really want you to be able to take away from this broadcast is to be able to understand that through the content that we are creating, we are building individual relationships with the people who are connecting to our content synchronistically. And people will continue to follow your content and support you, not just because of what you do, but why you do what you do. And so that was such an important thing. So I want everyone here to kind of like think about, you know, how am I communicating why I do what I do? And is that something that maybe I could be communicating even more so that people can actually understand that in more detail? And so through this talk, and I'm just going to give a short version of it here, I kind of talked about like how I went out to Vancouver and how I met some friends and how synchronicity kept unfolding. And yet I use this talk knowing that I was kind of speaking to an audience of people who, you know, like not all of them are kind of like quote unquote super spiritual, and that's totally okay because we're all human and we all have the spark within us. And so I was kind of, you know, meeting people where they were at, and instead of just like going up there and talking in like big spiritual jargon, I was kind of like, how can I communicate this in a way where they're going to be able to digest it and relate to it, and how can I help them see themselves through the story that I was sharing? And that's another really powerful idea. And again, just sharing tips and tricks back and forth as leaders here. When you create stories, a very powerful way for any of the content you're creating is to be able to create it with the intention in mind of allowing your viewer, your audience, your community to see themselves in the story. And so through the story, one of the main things that I was talking about was the idea of like becoming aware of sacred geometry, becoming aware of like the as above, so below axiom of this reality. And other people, like they came up to me afterwards, and you know, there's a part in the speech and I kind of talk about it, and I'm like, suddenly, like, a tree was no longer a tree. Suddenly, like, the branches of a tree were the veins in my arms, were the branches of a river, where the lightning strikes. And then, like, just that idea, someone else, like, came up to me afterwards, and this was a person who was, like, well into, you know, like, their 50s, and they were just like, that blew my mind. Like, hearing you say that literally changed something in me. And that's the idea for a lot of us here. We're kind of going through the spiritual journey, and maybe it's so obvious now, but we have to remember that there are people here and they're waking up in different stages, and there's even people, you know, from a generation who might be, you know, like in their 40s and 50s, and they're still in the process of waking up. So how are we assisting them? And so I kind of talked about that, and I talked about the idea that like the spiral on my fingertip was a spiral of a galaxy, and just that idea of realizing that like we're interconnected, and then even getting into the idea of kind of, you know, the psychedelic experience of understanding that we're in an ocean of energy and that we are dreamers waking up within this shared dream. And so by the end of it, this talk went really, really well, and it was a very powerful experience for me because a lot of it, the best advice that I was given going into it was to calm down and to kind of breathe and to kind of approach it as a meditation in the same way that I invite us to do so in this space here. Because oftentimes if we're doing something new, we can kind of get nervous, and that's okay, but at the same time the adrenaline can kick in, and then the thoughts start rolling, and then we're just like, oh, and then it kind of, and that's where sometimes we'll kind of like find it difficult. But if we can approach those, you know, situations outside of our comfort zone, such as public speaking, such as being on here in a broadcast, which is again just practice, and just take a breath, have a target in mind of what you're talking about, and then allow information to come through. Allow the story to come through. Speak from the heart. Speak what you know. And that's kind of what I did. I kind of went up there. In retrospect, it wasn't exactly what I planned, but it was exactly what was needed. There were some parts that just got left out. It went longer than it was planned. But ultimately, it was really interesting because I was very much just like in this flow state. And it happened, and it just happened, and it happened by me just kind of showing up and just kind of like relaxing, having fun, giving myself permission to even make mistakes, but keep moving forward, releasing that pressure, and just being clear on, you know, what my target was. And that target, by the end of it, that I kind of explained to people, was like reminding them that like, this is about becoming the superheroes that we have always been. And real quick, just the other part out of this, I'll just share, and then we'll pass over to Michael. By the end of it, I gave out some free hug signs to people in the audience, in the community. And there's one person in particular, Natalie, I believe her name is, if I'm not mistaken. And she took like a few free hug signs. And for the past week, she has been posting nonstop like selfies of her with her free hug sign and other people, like wherever she goes. There's like pictures of her at like a soccer event, at like a community event, like on the streets and stuff like that, like all over the place. And that is amazing, and that is powerful, and that is just an example of the ripple effect. And that is again another idea that even though there's different levels to kind of like how we're shifting consciousness, and you know, like some of us are creating like super intentional material and programs, at the very least, we want to be able to keep it accessible. And that's where something such as free hugs, such as acts of kindness, such as compassion, such as empathy, is the place where anyone can start. A 5-year-old can be like, I can give a hug. I'm a superhero. I'm making a difference in the world. And for them to feel that empowerment and to feel their place within their story, within the bigger story. So again, huge shout out to Mo Mondays. Check that out on my YouTube channel. It's about a 20-minute talk. I really encourage you to just like be inspired by it. And hey, you know, like start looking for community events where you are. And then maybe there's an opportunity for you to be able to like do like public speaking where you are as well. And that's a great way, again, just to be able to get the messages out there. So other than that, I'll just kind of like leave it there. The other thing I'll just mention, Halloween's coming up. I do plan on going out as Mystic Spider-Man and doing some more like free hugs, but I'm also going to be like interviewing people. I want to like do some like more like drunk interviews with people and ask them about like, be like, hey, like, do you believe in spirits and stuff like that? Or be like, have you ever had a paranormal experience? So the only reason I didn't go out last night is because it was raining, so we're kind of like pending on weather and everything right now. But this Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to be my intention to go out there as Mystic Spider-Man to do free hugs once again on Halloween and to make a video out of that. So that's one of my targets. And again, one of my superpowers, just listing that as we go around for everyone here to list their superpowers. Some of my superpowers, again, like video editing, community building, community facilitation, leadership, listening to my heart, things like that. Giving free hugs is another thing. Those are some of my superpowers, just to be able to give you an example to see the superpowers within yourself. So those are my quick updates, and we're going to pass the talking stick over to Michael Doyle, who segue has also given a talk at Mo Mondays. He is a local London, Ontario friend of mine as well, and I'm super honored to be able to have him on board for his support on the Patreon, and to be able to help introduce him to the audience, and for him to be able to share about the ways that he is helping shift consciousness and the content and the programs that he is creating as well. So Michael, passing the talking stick over to you. Go ahead, tell us, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about how you're shifting consciousness, some of your superpowers, and anything else you would like to share. Go right ahead.
Absolutely, I'm excited to jump in. Thank you. And yeah, like Brendon said, my name is Michael Doyle, and everything I do as a coach is truly about serving the greater good. I think it's my divine mandate to empower others. That's what I love to do. I love to people and help them see it too. And at a macro level, it's about collectively raising the, just feels like that's what everyone's here to do. And I think that's what we're feeling called to do. Definitely my dharma, and that's what I've set the intention for. So whether it's my performing music, I guess my superpower is making meaningful connections in a group, whether it's through my workshops, my talks, or music. Music's definitely my, what you shared, Brendon, about the intention behind your speaking. Sometimes we try to have a script, but whether I'm doing a 1 hour talk or a 4 hour talk, I meditate, I either run, cold water immersion, whatever I do to prepare myself in peak performance, but I just let it channel and I don't overthink it, and I share. Yeah, I think in the absolute, there's only love. So it's infinite. We can never use it all up. So start your day with gratitude. Speaking of gratitude, I'm grateful to even be on this call. Everything I do, from the time I wake in the morning, doesn't matter what kind of day it is, I always look for it's a good day. And I think your attitude really determines your altitude. It's about working together and collaborating. I can jump into a little bit of what I do. I shared was doylein.com/your next level. Everyone has their next level. You know, we're feeling stuck sometimes, but we're never really, we're stuck in our thoughts or beliefs or our actions, but everything's energy. So we just need to change the input, whether it's a belief, a thought, and ultimately, how do we create? You know, my latest program is Quantum Creation. I speak on just last month at Awesomepreneurs, and to really fueling your mind, body, and spirit every day. Set goals for fitness, or do you set a goal for money, or do you set a goal for, how many sit and say, okay, what's my goals from my mind, from my spirit? And when you do that, flow state. I love that Brendon mentioned flow state. Time disappears. We have the ability to slow time, to bend time, the impact from a place of flow. I will not create content. Anything I create comes from the creator. I don't take credit for what they do. I'm like a personal GPS. I'm the conduit. I let the divine, and it's a powerful thing when you learn to do that.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And I did just want to be able to pass the mic over to you again.
Yeah.
Real quick, is your microphone on your headphones, or where's your microphone? Because it was cutting out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it might just be from movement, but we'll just see if we can kind of mitigate that. But yeah, so moving forward, any particular targets that you have, and any like objectives that you got kind of coming up, and use that again. One of the things that I wanted to be able to just like mention for everybody here is kind of keep in mind that like right now at the time of this broadcast, very, very powerful time. We're at this new moon right now, and we're about to move into like Mercury retrograde. So like people are just like, not again, oh no. But again, Mercury retrograde, and maybe there's some people here who might be able to share some insight on what Mercury retrograde means to them. If anything, it just kind of means like, hey, now's a great time to like make sure that you got like all your things in order, your communication is kind of like laid out and stuff like that. Mercury retrograde is not a bad thing. It's actually more just a way to like make sure we got things in place. But I was just going to check in with you. What are some of your current targets, your current goals that you have moving forward, and you can kind of use that to kind of like speak it into truth and to create that narrative here with the team. And also any sort of like words of inspiration you might have for people who are perhaps like beginning their journey of creating and becoming a creator. Anything that you might want to share in that concept, go ahead.
Absolutely. In terms of creating, allow everything. My first book was about take control and live fully, and there's power in control of ourself in the areas that we do control, but the truth is the divine has than we do, and there's so much power in surrendering and allowing. So take, but create from a place of belief, a place of alignment, and like allow it to come to you. Sometimes we think we need to know all the next steps, but don't know your why, and the how will show up. When you take that step, just take one step after the other. You take that step, the next one lights up. So it's really not about getting, and I've been practicing this for years. I'm fascinated with human potential and like consciousness itself, right? 3 hours before this call, out to get in the headspace to be here, right? I think is the way we do everything. So there's things that I do daily, weekly, and monthly. It doesn't mean I'm always on track, but it means that most of the time how I show up and the energy that I bring at any given point in time. A to-do list, set an intention list. To-do list will help you too, but start. I think intention cannot be overstated in terms of the power of it. In terms of next projects, I'm working on. I've gifted with an opportunity to work. We got to meet Brendon at that hero event in Ramford. We were at.
Sorry, that was Tammy. You said again, the audio is kind of cutting out a little bit sometimes, Michael. But I just wanted to make sure that was with Tammy, correct?
Tammy Valiers, yeah, and
cool. Maybe just hold on to your mic as you're talking. I just want to see if that makes a difference. Yeah.
Is that any better?
We'll find out.
If you want.
That's okay. Go ahead, because we'll just finish up this part, and then if you want to switch afterwards, that's fine. But go ahead, tell us about what you're working on with Tammy.
Yeah, so Tammy's amazing, and we're turning a lot of into an online quest, a series of online quests. There's 4 series, 24, and it's really about awakening your inner hero. She's worked with kids from kindergarten to grade kindergarten masterclass, and it's brilliant. It's getting them before the paradigms, top-down stuff, and I still think there's power in that. But she's all about prevention and get them before the paradigms. And the kids at her school, she's been running for 8 years, turned it all into an online series. And just today, we signed up for vacations. And that's another thing that we're starting to do to really ignite people's genius, to ignite their superhero inside. So we all have a hero inside of us, right? So there's to get this in the schools, get this in the daycares, communities, parents listen to it and learn from it. And I guess my other really, really powerful north, I spent 16 years, almost 17 years in the Arctic. Year doing work there, but I lived there for almost 17. And I'm really working in the schools and empowering kids through the work that I do.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. It's wonderful again just to be able to have you here, and just being able to like with Michael, like being able to just like meet him just synchronistically over the years. He actually came out to some of the paradigm shift meetings that we had way back in the day. And then again, the universe just kind of like brought us together again at these common events with common energy and common people, and being able to see him up on stage, it's really inspired me as well. And I think that's again the really powerful thing that we have here as a community, is that we're learning together and we're inspiring each other together. So Michael, thank you again for helping lead as a a member of the community, and for inspiring not only myself but all the people whose lives that you make a difference in as well. So super appreciate it, dude.
I still have the button you gifted me at the first time we met. I think it was 3 Inspiration Fest.
Yeah, you said you still have it on a mantle somewhere,
Yeah,
or something, the shift button.
yeah.
Very cool, very cool, awesome. Well, Michael, I know you're gonna have to jump out at some point, but again, we're gonna be going around the circle, and in case we don't get to pass the talking stick back to you before you have to head out, any sort of like words of wisdom, any gratitude that you would like to express, please feel free to do that.
Sure, we all have this inner knowing. Like some people say, "Oh, my," the truth is, we all have the power to be intuitive. So, here's that we want to do, and then we get in our head and we overthink it. So before you get into the way I revert or move back when I'm in fear, mode, negative self-talk, I sit still, I put my hands on my heart. Am I coming from my head or am I acting from my heart right now? Cold breaths, and you can really reboot yourself. We can control our energy, what we go out. So anytime you're looking to do something, you feel fear coming in for the ride, but I say let the fear fuel you.
Absolutely, yeah, and again, I think there's definitely some like deeper conversations there, again, just to be able to like how to work with fear, right? How to
Yes,
see fear
absolutely.
as actually like a tool that's kind of like helping guide us as well. So
Yeah, thank you so
yeah.
much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Michael. And again, for those of you looking to connect with Michael Doyle on Instagram, I'll post a link into the YouTube chat right now. That's DOYLE, and you can also find it at doyleitin.com. So DOYLEITIN.com. So we'll post a link for that in the show notes, and I did just post it into the YouTube chat as well. And Michael, thank you again so much, and I look forward to just being able to collaborate and share more about what you're doing with the community. So thank you again, Michael.
Thank you. Love and light.
Much love. Awesome. All right, so we'll keep passing the talking stick around and get some more people an opportunity to be able to introduce themselves. And as we kind of go around the circle and introduce each other, again, you see it as practice. We'll set the intention of like working on keeping it concise. But again, I want to be able to give people here an opportunity to be able to speak their heart, speak their voice, speak to the team, introduce themselves. And then once we've kind of gone around the circle, we'll kind of just like get more into the freestyle popcorn mode where we're just kind of like going back and forth as well. And yeah, and then from there, we'll kind of reflect on, like what is needed from us as a community. And then again, any questions that may pop up in the chat, we can always kind of hit upon some of those as well. So for anybody here in the YouTube chat, if you haven't already yet, be sure to like this video, and also please feel free to just leave your gratitude so I can see some comments there from people just saying thank you to Michael as well. And again, be sure to connect with Michael on Instagram. For everybody here, like everybody here has an Instagram, so make sure that you connect with their Instagram, and then from there it will link you into everything else as well. Perfect. All right, so with that said, we'll pass the talking stick around and we'll keep moving here. Again, this broadcast will go for about 2 hours, and then we'll wrap it up with a little meditation at the end. And this is a great way for us to be able to start the week. And with that said, we'll pass the talking stick over to whoever would like to go first. And you guys kind of know your time schedule. If you have to jump out early, that's okay. But whoever would like to go next,
could I go next?
Is that Jacob? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Okay, so Jacob, we'll pass it over to you. And Jacob, he's been involved with the community for quite a while now, over a year, I think. And yeah, awesome, like just like thinker, creator, done some amazing poetry. Even Jacob, even like after you've kind of talked a bit about what you're working on and things like that, if you even have a little bit of poetry you want to share with the team, please feel free to do that as well. So Jacob, passing over to you, and
awesome.
welcome to the roundtable. Go ahead, dude.
So I'm a multidisciplinary researcher into quantum science, and I like theoretical physics. So this is my passion, and makes me feel like a superhero when I look into these things. And it's interesting because in the superhero kind of lore, a lot of times it uses these kind of ideas in comic books for things. So it's kind of interesting to me, that part. But I've been working on this paper that details on the creation of not just the creation, but but the formation of the reality itself, and the formation of galaxies, the formation of the atoms, the formation of particles due to quantum fluctuations. And with this theory, it includes time and causality as going forwards in time. and in going backwards in time. So events that are unfolding in our universe unfolded from a singularity. And that singularity was like a black hole. And that black hole also had an equal and opposite reaction white hole. The black hole is an infinite dense gravitational object, and a white hole is an infinite radiant electromagnetic object. And both of them exist on varying scales of the universe, on cosmological scales and on the quantum scale. From the atom, from the solar system, the galaxy, to the universe itself, to the multiverse, it's all based on varying scales of singularities of forces. And understanding the forces of the universe, there's 4 different forces of the universe. There's the gravity, electromagnetism, which used to exist as electrical and magnetic. In the past, a lot of mysticism, especially through like Tesla, through the Vedic science, through the knowledge, through all this knowledge, it's been really well documented how humans have been interested in electromagnetic phenomena and how it's been deemed mystical and magical. It's that shifted aether theory of Nikola Tesla, the theory of the medium of electromagnetic frequencies, but that turned into the advent of special relativity by Einstein, which transformed into all these different theories, such as Dirac's theories of antimatter and dark energy, and Schrodinger's theories, and it gets pretty complicated. But the most leading thing right now is trying to unify all these forces together under something called the theory of everything, and that's what I've been working on. The theory of everything is there's a mathematics behind it, and there's also physics behind it, and it's basically beauty that is mathematically shown, that can also be shown geometrically as this thing called a E8 lattice. And so all these things, it's pretty crazy. Like, it's high energy particle physics, and it's theoretical. There's 9 different bosons or particles that has not been experimentally proven, but has been theoretically documented and that should exist. One of these particles is the tachyon. That's used a lot in science fiction and in comic books. I've noticed, like, for example, in the DC universe, for the Flash, the Speed Force is based on the tachyon force and the tachyon particles. That's how Flash gets his speed. So, which is kind of interesting. And there they deal with, particle accelerators and wormholes and extra dimensional realities. And a lot of this deals from 2 major theories. First theory that I worked on is called the holofractal graphic universe theory. And the second one is called Cantorian space-time. Cantorian space-time uses fixed framework of, it's called Haas, it's kind of hard to say. Let me say, Haas, so Greg Cantor made it. It's derived from set theory. It uses 26-dimensional string theory, and it reduces it to 10 dimensions. So it's basically string theory. It uses infinite dimensions, but it has finite dimensions as its framework. For example, a hypercube mathematically has been documented to 7 dimensions, and a 7th dimensional cube is called a heptaract. And a heptaract here, let's see, I've written about it here. I have a whole paper. In this paper, I've written about 37 pages that goes into detail on
awesome.
this. It's a working
Jacob,
quantum gravity
I'm gonna
theory.
ask you.
It solves the paradox of information leaking into black holes and what happens after that. It basically theorizes what happens to information and matter, and is it equal to the conservation laws? Is matter destroyed? No, it can't be destroyed. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. It just goes through extreme cycles of these white holes and black holes in varying scales.
That's awesome. Jacob, I'm going to ask you a question. Keep going. Just any thoughts you're finishing. I just want to ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask now?
Yeah.
Cool, sweet, man. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to be able to ask, again, kind of like creating like the framework of how not only is this information something that you're passionate about, but why, like why are you passionate about this? Because I think a lot of us here within the community, again, we have this curiosity. We have this curiosity of like, how does this reality work?
Exactly.
So talk a little bit about why, and then I want you to kind of like expand on this and like how do you plan on kind of like bringing this into the mainstream? How do you plan on kind of creating this into content? Because I know we were talking about taking your paper and kind of turning it into like an article for the website and stuff too, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
So I started my college career with an interest in creation stories and mythology. So I started my career delving into all the creation myths in history, and they all share a similar structure. And this is just a modern approach to this old structure. And it uses modern theory and mathematics based on something that has always been in the psyche of humanity and our collective unconscious. It's multi-dimensional. It is multidisciplinary. It is the collection of all things as one, and all things as one including physics, science, philosophy, mysticism, and religion, all under one understanding. This can be derived through empirical review and evidence, but it could also be coming through a priori knowledge, or you can come to these conclusions from just going within yourselves that we live in a hollow fractal graphic universe that is infinite. There's an infinite amount of dimensions and realities out there, and we're just in one of them. And feelings of deja vu is just in this quantum entanglement that occurs. That's what it is. It's quantum entanglement with doppelgangers of ourselves. Now, how crazy is that? That the birth of us could be just an infinite amount of us in a multiverse, and a singularity or a superposition where all of us, our consciousness of ourselves exists. And that's just one of us. And then all that connects to in a web. And all of it connects like a web, and it kind of goes back to like Mystic Spider-Man and Spider-Man, and how there's
the Spider-Verse,
right?
Yeah, exactly right. Cool. Dude, that's awesome, man. Sweet. Jacob, so I know we can totally just like talk about this for hours and hours on hours. Okay, so just kind of like focusing it in, what are your kind of your goals in the next week, the next month, and in terms of content that you would like to be able to do to, again, like take these ideas and kind of like get them, so that other people can hear them and make them relatable too.
My goal is to share a quantum correction code and to share these theories so that new quantum computers can be developed, that quantum computers can be scaled down, and that we can create new medical cures and gene therapies and things that will save people's lives.
That's pretty epic. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And any thoughts on kind of like going back to kind of like that philosophy of like being dreamers within the dream and the power of the conscious mind? How do you, like, again, just in a short version of this, do you feel that like your data is kind of pointing back to the idea of like how incredibly powerful of creators we are within this reality? Do you see that within what you're exploring?
And if anything, it's powerful. Reality is really powerful as a code, and if you can understand it mathematically and put it into a computer, imagine how fast and powerful that code could be and what it could accomplish and solve problem-wise for us.
Well, now that we got the code, we can basically just like create our whole own reality, which maybe someone's already done that. We'll see. Are we in the Matrix? Stay tuned. Find out.
It's the ethics of science.
That is true.
Science,
right? Yeah.
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Does it? Right? There's responsibility for your actions. If you unleash some menace, something that no normal person can stop, who's going to stop that? Like,
yeah, and then we got
artificial
Skynet,
intelligence that builds upon itself and gets exponentially better. There's some scary things to that, but there's also some really good things to that could help humanity. So it's weighing like the pros versus cons.
That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for being again like on the leading edge of exploring these ideas. And I know a lot of people are just like commenting in the chat. They're like super impressed by just I like Morphic Crystal. She's like, yo, this is some Rick and Morty shit right here. So excuse my language, but cool. Jacob, thank you again for sharing. And again, we're gonna pass it off in a minute. Is there any poetry that you can share with us before we do that? Even something that you got nearby, or I don't know if you got some stuff off the top of your head, because
I don't have anything new that off the top
that's
of my
totally
head
cool,
right
man.
now.
Like it doesn't need to be new, like honestly, because I've heard some of the stuff, and I think again, like sharing that with the intention of just kind of like inspiring people by sharing your creative nature.
Okay,
And any links that you have for Instagram or anything like that. You do have a YouTube channel, so if you can send those to me later or let people know where they
sure.
can connect with you at.
Let me look
And
for it here.
yeah, and so again, just as Jacob's doing that, again, one of the things that we're doing here within the project, again, you know, through Paradigm Shift Central, we're working on like, you know, helping people create and publish content to get it out there to a wider audience. So one of the things that Jacob's working on, which again is like for like a school project, we'll be able to kind of repurpose some of that eventually into content through the website. And you know, maybe it might be something that, you know, Jacob might want to create into like a spoken word video, and that's like something that I'd be super happy to be able to work into. And again, like kind of tying it back to you know, the shift in consciousness. But what is the shift in consciousness? The shift in consciousness is about like us becoming more aware of us. And so this is like reality studying reality. So it gets very interesting and very meta. So Jacob, do you have any poetry ready
Sure.
to share?
Sure,
Okay,
I'll
sweet.
share
So
the first one that I wrote.
okay, perfect. So Jacob will share, and then after this, I'd love to be able to pass it, not to like put them on the spot. Bevin, can you give me a thumbs up if you would be good to jump in next? Would that be cool? If you're good with that? Yeah, okay, cool, sweet. So just to give you a heads up on that. All right, so Jacob, go ahead, share some super awesome inspirational poetry that you would like to share with us. Thanks again, dude.
All right, so this poem is titled "Philosopher Child." So when I was a child, I looked at the sky. I wondered quite freely if one day I'd fly. In the darkness I wailed and I wandered about. I saw a great spark going over and out. In my dreams I see laughing and love all around. I knew quite fondly that I had to ground. When I stepped into the Lord's mind, I learned of the pleasures on which I could find. I was moving so slowly at a snail's pace. I was ready to go and to stretch time away. I was seeing the beauty of the perfect form. I was over my head. I was away from the norm. I'm an individual who's experiencing reality, infinite spiral evolution insanity. People fear what they don't understand. They like to hide in a box and to follow demands. Corporations control using symbols like brands. Burning an insignia into your ego, falsified happiness collapses like Legos. Centering around the clock, dynamic pulsating electric shocks, prismatic beams of light flowing through the dark night. Coming back as one source, Star Wars man with the Force. Gnosis is not hocus pocus. Try not to lose focus. They say I'm a wizard, stay away from space lizards. Cosmic space spiders weaving, dreamscaping and believing. A web of lies, see with golden eyes. To avoid our demise, love to become wise. I'm a philosopher child, I'm sort of mild. Son of Sol and Luna, swimming around like a tuna. In the primordial waters, gotta love Sophia's daughters. Named Faith, Hope, and Love, peace like a white dove. Spherical astral realms, astral body in an elm. A village of elves with multiple selves. How do you measure wealth? Calcinate greed, ego, and filth. Purification through the fire with a long spiral wire. Dissolve the ashes in water in a smooth manner. Separation from self-restraints. Breath of fresh air, don't faint. Conjunction of matter and earth. Physically here with some worth. Time to enter the mind. Leave the four elements behind. Fermentation of self, don't wail. Visions of a peacock's tail. Phoenix rising through the colors. Philosophy and science are brothers. Distillation with the purification, circulation of light multiplication, coagulation of the soul, free from the body of Ol, into a body of light, golden ambrosia of might. This is my magnum opus, knowledge of truth with focus. Philosopher's stone in my hands, existing in all of the lands. Love is all around, sweet and sound, within and without. Resolve all the doubts. Air breathes on down as it touches our crown. Kings and queens of earth, divine right in your birth. Manifest all around. Oops. Wait. Let's see. Okay. Don't fear and fall. Come and take your place and feel God's grace, because all is possible. You're bright and full. Your focus brings it here, your faith takes it there, and now we're here, all that holds dear. Direct source incarnation, the sphinx in its location, the beauty in the perfect form. To be you, what is the norm? Alchemical fire calcination, spiritual flight education. The phoenix is rising, top of the pyre ablazing, infinitely rising upwards, talks a sheep of shepherds. That's it.
That's it. That's awesome, man. Good job, dude. Sweet.
That was
Get some finger claps
you.
going from the team there.
I love it.
Dude, that's wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. And I just want to give a quick shout out. Our friend Neil, he's actually watching in the background. He's got some sweet like poetry flowetry as well. Neil, I know you're busy, dude, but if we don't get to hear from you this broadcast, please feel free to jump in another broadcast. And he actually just shared this to a group, so we got about probably about 60 people tuned in right now, which is amazing because again, you know, like more people are getting to like see this and hear this, and so there you go, Jacob. You know, like 60-ish people just got to like hear a little bit of what you've got to offer in terms of that creativity. So Jacob, thank you again for being here, for being a leading member, for supporting on the Patreon, for being a part of the community. Looking forward to being able to just again like be able to get like more of your ideas and crystallize them into like, you know, even like meme content. Like I'd love to just be able to like collaborate more and be like, yo, let's create some dope memes together, right? Let's create some like holographic memes and, you know, get people thinking and everything like that. So Jacob, do you have off the top of your head like your YouTube links or your Instagram links that you can just let people know of in the audio? Otherwise we can just put those into the show notes as well.
Yeah, not off the right top of my head, but I think I put it inside the chat.
Yeah, because it's not like your YouTube channel doesn't have like, does it have a name to it if someone were to search it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't. That's what I remember. Like it wasn't like officially titled yet. So
yeah, it's just my name, I think.
Okay, so either way, for those of you looking to connect with Jacob, refresh this video a little bit later by the end of the broadcast, and we'll include the links for it into the show notes. So that'll be in the video info, and I'll post it into the comments.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure if you search my name into YouTube on the search bar, you'll find it too.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what would that search be? Jacob
Boggie.
And the spelling on that, can you just spell that real quick, and then we're gonna pass. So JACOBHULECKI.
Yep.
For those of you checking that out. So cool. All right, Jacob, any just last message of inspiration and gratitude that you want to share? Go ahead, and we'll pass the talking stick over to the next person.
I say the change is not going to happen in some fancy laboratory. It's going to happen in our garage. It's going to happen to the next everyday person, and it's going to be big. It's going to be big.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you again, Jacob. Super honored to be able to have you here, dude. You're a superhero amongst superheroes, so appreciate it, man. Awesome. All right, so thank you again, everyone, for being here, for being a part of this broadcast. We're just going to take a quick moment here. I just want to be able to, again, just acknowledge that we've got a bunch of people who are tuned in on Facebook. If you are tuned in on Facebook, please feel free to jump over to the YouTube link. That's at youtube.com/SkullBabylon. The link for that is in the title for the video, as well as in the pinned post. So if you are on Facebook, please feel free to jump over to YouTube. If you are on YouTube, hit the like button. That way, when you literally hit the like button, it increases the possibility of people synchronistically finding this broadcast while it's live. So that's super, super appreciated. And of course, comment afterwards, share it with your friends, invite more people to tune in, and let us know if this is something that you enjoy, and we'll keep doing more of this. And yeah, quick heads up, I want to be able to check in with you guys because we are due for another like open mic night, which is when we like come on and like specifically share like music and poetry and things like that. So that might be next Sunday. Once we can kind of check in as a team, let me know. And again, for those of you who are like here and you're just wanting to be able to connect further, again, be sure to check out the link in the YouTube for our team chat. And hey, you can share some of your YouTube links, your poetry, your creativity in the team chat as well. And again, that info is all in the YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, jump over to YouTube and make sure you connect there and explore more at paradigmshiftcentral.com as well. So with that said, thank you again, everyone, for being here, for rocking it, for being able to create this awesome space that we're here to do together. And again, like this is all about practice. And as we pass the talking stick over to Bevin, our next member within the circle here, I want to be able to just like remind us that, you know, I say this, you know, with a bit of mentorship and to be able to like offer people advice who are listening to this. When we're doing a broadcast, I want you to be able to almost pretend in your mind that there are 1,000 people tuned in, you know, because sometimes it's just like, oh, there's only 5 people, it's like, meh, like whatever, it's okay, right? But if you can literally kind of like show up to each and every single broadcast that you're doing as if there are 1,000 people, and to kind of bring that same energy, even if there's only 5 people. But if you can literally do that, then like that's like a very powerful thing to get into. And suddenly your energy doesn't fluctuate based on, you know, suddenly there's like, you know, 5 people, and then the next thing you know, there's 100 people. And then sometimes if you suddenly do that, and you're just like, oh my God, now I'm nervous. So like, oh, pressure, oh, they're judging me, and stuff like that. So allow yourself to just kind of be able to be equally confident as if there are 5 people, as if there are 5,000 people. And then when the time comes when there are 5,000 people, you'll be able to be like, I've got this. I'm a superhero. I've got this. So with that said, we'll pass the talking stick over to Bevin. And Bevin, I'm so happy to be able to have you here, to be able to introduce you, another one of our very powerful creators and leaders here in the community. Bevin has been involved in Paradigm Shift in the past. And again, one of the beautiful things about Paradigm Shift is the idea that, you know, we have like a very ongoing open door concept. And it's kind of like this beautiful thing where people will synchronistically connect with Paradigm Shift back in 2013, 2014. And then, you know, like life happens, and then people focus where they need to, and then we might not hear from them for a little bit, and then lo and behold, like a helix, paths cross again. And that is like such a beautiful thing. So Bevin, I'm super excited to be able to have you here once again, and to be able to again allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the members of the community, and for you to share a little bit more about what you do as a creator and anything else that you would like to be able to share. Tell us about your superpowers, Bevin. So Bevin, when you're ready, passing the talking stick over to you, and go right ahead. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you, Brendon. It is an honor to be here and to be a part of this awesome broadcast. Goodness, I feel like so many things are shifting and changing in myself and in my life, and it's been quite a journey. Just even the past like 4 months, it's been quite intense for me, but in a good way. So, I guess I'll start with sharing that I'm, obviously I'm very a spiritual person. Most of my focus so far has been inward and really healing myself and diving down deep within my shadow and my wounds and my ancestral lineage. And it's been like intense journey for me for the past like 4 months. I'd say I've been really, really digging in there and really clearing out so much stuff to come into a higher baseline of vibration. So I am also a creator. I love to paint. I love to write. I write poetry. I'm currently developing a novel. It's a fantasy slash spiritual story that I feel like I've been channeling most of it. I'm really excited about it. I won't go too much into it, but it's something that I'm excited to keep working on and develop. And it seems like the more I kind of do it, the more like just like stuff comes to me, and it's kind of like my own understanding of creation and multi-dimensionality and spirituality coming into this story, and to help other people. And the target audience for like children and teenagers and young adults, so to help them kind of like spark that deeper awakening and understanding of life and of the universe. I also love to dance, and basically anything really creative I love to do. um, I feel like my journey is really just beginning to start when it comes to like how I'm serving this world. I'm creating a website for myself, and I'm working on building an Etsy store. another part of my path and my journey is living sustainably and living in harmony with the earth and educating and teaching others how to do that and to yeah, really living in resonance with the planet. And through living in resonance with the planet, you find yourself in resonance with the entire universe, with the cosmos. Super magical stuff. And so the more you live in harmony with your being and yourself, and the more you live in harmony with the planet, the more you feel that and the more you start activating that universal song within yourself. And well, that's when things get super just beautiful and magical. And yeah, I feel like I'm kind of going all over the place, but
Well, that's awesome. I can ask you a question if you'd like, if there's anything else you want to touch on first, or
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to ask you, and I mean, anybody literally here can answer this question as well, or at least think about it in your mind. In today's day and age, what does it mean for you to be a leader? Like, what does it mean to be a leader? And you've kind of touched upon this in what you were saying, but just to kind of like reflect that back. Like, I mean, even for yourself, like, do you feel a leader is still something that you're working on identifying yourself as more? And how do you kind of like feel that is taking shape, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm just really starting to come into a role of leadership within my life. I feel like a leader is really, for me, it's living by your highest virtues and choosing that, over and over again, instead of choosing things that aren't in alignment with that and are, not serving your highest and greatest good. And a leader is someone who's really walking in integrity and living by their heart and, making that the priority in their life. Yeah. So really stepping up and actively participating as a shifter.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And
basing all their creations and everything they do around, how they're going to be of service to all life on this planet.
that's beautiful. Yeah, no, I think again, like when we really kind of work on bringing ourselves into that alignment of being, like, again, going back to what I was talking about, what is our why? And when we really drop into that space, like the steps on what to take next will kind of be heard within our heart. And when we get good at listening to our heart, then it's kind of, again, kind of like what Michael was talking about, this like internal GPS, this internal guidance that we can always tap into. And even again, with what Michael says, that I think is really important for us, especially as creators and leaders, we don't always have to think 50 steps ahead, because we're only going to take one step at a time. So sometimes it will be that thought of being, where am I going to be 50 steps from now, that can kind of, prevent us from taking that next step, and we kind of get stuck in ourselves. But if we can just kind of get really good at listening to our heart, and to just kind of like tap into the wisdom of our heart, and to be able to literally ask ourselves, like, what is the wisest move I can make? What is the next wisest move I can make? And if we know what our why is, we know what our intention is, that intelligence of our soul, of our spirit, will actually speak through us, and we can actually get like really good at listening to that. That's at least like one thing I wanted to be able to say. And one thing I just wanted to mention as well, and Bevin, I'd actually just be curious to hear your thoughts, and even just anything that I said there, if you want to add on to that, and then we'll pass the talking stick around soon enough. But when it comes to being a leader, one thing that I think is also really important, again, kind of what you said about aligning with certain virtues, is also the ability to be able to know that a good leader isn't just someone who's always saying yes, but is someone who can also say no. But understanding that saying no is also saying yes. Because sometimes if you just kind of like think, like, okay, maybe there's like, a situation where someone's kind of like trying to like pull you off course or something like that, and if you have the foresight to be able to be like, sorry, like maybe it's an old friend who's trying to like invite you out into old habits that aren't really fully serving your full vision, you can say no to that, because you're saying yes to that devotion, to that path that you are continuing to kind of like commit yourself to. Does that make sense, Bevin? Or have you had like any thoughts or experience that relates to that from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that's just like, that's creating healthy boundaries too, and just like, I'm not going to choose things that are going to stray me off course or set me back or put me back into old patterns. Like, leaders, I feel, really focused on their mission and their purpose, and they're not going to sacrifice what they're here to do, and their alignment to that purpose and that service for anything or anyone. I'm gonna, of course, like, no one's perfect, no one's 100%. Like, we're all human, so we fall off the wagon sometimes to get back on. But like, the more we devote ourselves to our purpose and to what we're here for, um the more we really truly live as leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just one more thing, and then I was just going to ask you just kind of like what your next goals and targets are. But yeah, just kind of on that point, I think again we almost have to understand that like the universe is constantly testing us, and not because it's trying to hold us back or punish us or anything. Like the universe, spoiler alert, the universe is never punishing us. All it is ever doing is teaching us. That's all it is ever doing, And so again, like I think sometimes we'll kind of find ourselves in situations that might be reminiscent of something from our past, but it's literally there for us to be able to like get to demonstrate the choice that we are making, to be able to be like, hey, are you going to do that thing that you said you're not going to do anymore? Are you? Well, let's find out. Let's put something in front of you, something that may be tempting or something that may be, interfering or something like that, and see what choice you make in that moment. And then to be able to allow yourself to witness yourself making that choice, and for you to like really love yourself and be able to be like, whoa, I'm glad to be able to see myself either, again, say yes or say no, right? So,
Yeah.
And again, I think it's always literally about saying yes, even though it just sometimes is disguised as a no. But yeah, Bevin, any other thoughts just again on kind of like, being able to be, I guess, aware of kind of like how the universe kind of teaches us, and maybe, like just segueing that into what your next goals and targets are moving forward in terms of, either content creation or entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to add as well, like, this reality is designed for us to become masters, eventually. So yeah, we're always presented with new opportunities and choices and challenges, and everything that we go through, every experience that we go through is an opportunity to choose love and to choose to really become that master that we're here to become, or that a lot of us feel the call to become. um, and going into what I'm doing, I feel like I was painting today, and I was really feeling like, wow, like I really want to step into entrepreneurship fully and not be working, 30 to 40 hours a week as a nanny anymore. Like I'm really like, I don't want to put my energy into something that is not like really in alignment with my path and like my passions. So, however that unfolds, I am going to be creating more YouTube content. I teach yoga, so I'll be doing all sorts of stuff. I'll be doing YouTube videos for yoga and how to have proper alignment with yoga. I'll be releasing guided meditations. I'm also, working on my website, and eventually launching my Etsy shop where I'll be selling pretty jewelry, crystal jewelry, and probably like homemade lotions infused from different flowers and herbs and stuff like that. So yeah, lots of creations in the making for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One other thing, just out of curiosity, and again, just for again, this information, as much as it is for like the audience, it's good. I enjoy it because it helps me kind of like see what everyone's working on and get to know that. Is there much local community event stuff that you have been, or maybe even thinking about helping get involved with more? Any just like updates on your local community involvement, if
Um,
that is a thing?
Yeah, actually, we have a really wonderful community here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's called GRASS. It stands for Grand Rapids Autonomous Support System. And it's kind of like Paradigm Shift Central, but for like, Grand Rapids. It's like a central hub for people to come and to connect and to create together and collaborate. So I help out with that, and I participate in that, and we actually just planted trees this weekend in our city in response to the forests in the Amazon, or the fires in the Amazon rainforest. Um, and that was really beautiful and a wonderful thing to do, and everyone felt really good about it. And I even got to bring the kids that I nanny with. I got to bring them to that. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
for everybody here, always like those community events are always so powerful. Again, you meet like-hearted people, you get inspired, you collaborate, you network. It's an investment. It's an investment to be able to just like put yourself in those situations. And the fact is, like, we as community, like we need each other. Like, we literally need each other. It is non-negotiable. Like, we are at this point where, again, I think you look at social media, you look at society, the way how it's kind of structured, a lot of it is almost kind of like it like wants us to kind of be separately focused on our individual things. But again, part of the intention within this broadcast, within this community, it's like, what happens when we come together? What happens when our stories become a common story, a shared story? What happens when we're using a network to be able to promote each other? And so there never needs to be any sense of competition, just only shared celebration. And again, physical community is a great way to do that. And for anybody out there who's just listening to this, be it from the inspiration of Bevin or myself and any of the members here, know that you are already connected to the people who you have yet to meet. So when you put yourself out there, when you get out there, the synchronicities start happening. Maybe you're doing free hugs, maybe you're organizing a local paradigm shift meetup, open-minded discussion circle, maybe you're doing yoga in the park, maybe it's a drum circle. Do it. And don't just do it for you, do it for the other people who are going to be brought into that portal, brought into that vortex. And then the lives and the evolution out of that is just like incredibly changing and incredibly inspiring. So Bevin, thank you again for sharing. And I posted a link for your Instagram into the show notes, into the YouTube chat. So that's Heavenly Being .183 on Instagram, and again, that will be in the show notes for anybody looking to connect. And I'm super looking forward to just being able to again help support you in creating content, creating YouTube content as well. And for anybody here who's listening, leading members and anybody in the community, just real quick, I just want to be able to mention this, and then I'll pass back to Bevin just for any closing gratitude and wisdom to share from there. One of the things that I really encourage everyone here to do, because essentially, like, out of this project, part of my intention is like, I want to help all of my friends like become successful entrepreneurs, because I want to be able to help like all of my friends be able to live a life where they are doing what they love, where they are devoting themselves to their passion, where they're living sustainably as artists. And so for everybody here, if you haven't already yet, I highly encourage you to start setting up your Patreon and to begin working towards that regenerative monthly income. That's a huge game changer. And that's something that within the Paradigm Shift Central project, I'm actually going to be like creating exclusive content for our Patreon members to be able to help teach you in how to do that. Like, obviously I've been developing a Patreon over the years. I've learned what works, what doesn't work, how to be able to create formats that other people can replicate. And so out of that, I want to be able to again help each and every single person here start putting in those hours and those days that are going to start adding up. So, over the course of a year, you'll have the ability to like do things that you otherwise would never be able to do, because you have that foundation through your Patreon and because you built that community. And every single person here has value. Every single person here has a high level skill. And again, it's just about kind of like understanding a little bit of the mechanics and the tactics and the mindset. And again, just to be able to like practice getting comfortable on camera and practice speaking and being a leader. So again, as much as I have a Patreon, I love the idea of like everybody here growing their own Patreon. And again, for those of you who are just entirely unfamiliar, patreon.com, check it out. It's a website that has changed the lives of so many people, and it allows people to support artists they enjoy and projects they enjoy with monthly micro contributions, and in return get exclusive rewards and perks and things like that. So again, like with Bevin, you know, she could be creating like, again, like exclusive video content. Even having a community built around her content is a way how to be able to do it. And again, even similar, and this is kind of like a big idea, but for anybody here, the big thing that works with Patreon is being able to create the conditions for people to be able to sign up in a way that it's like such good value that they can't say no to it within the target demographic, creating something that's like so valuable where it's just like, oh, I have to say yes to that. And again, going back to the idea of what I was talking about earlier, it's about the relationships that you're building. That is the most important thing. And you do not need 10,000 people on Instagram in order to start being successful as an entrepreneur and building your Patreon. Literally 100 people on your Instagram is enough people to start building that relationship with. And again, showing people your why and then inviting them to be able to contribute, providing that value. And the big thing, and I'll just mention this real quick, because again, I'm talking to my leading members and everybody here, getting on camera is vital. Doing live broadcasts is vital to being able to help build your Patreon. And you've seen me do that with like the tarot readings. And what we do the tarot readings, and in the broadcast, we create the conditions that invite people to sign up during the broadcast. And then if you can do a broadcast and get a couple people signed up on Patreon every single broadcast, and then you do a few broadcasts a week, that's like, you know, like 20, 30 Patreon supporters a month. You can start to see how like a couple months of that can quickly add up. So I hope that just kind of plants some seeds and gives you guys some, like, get those gears rolling. And we'll talk more about that within our exclusive leading member chat within the project as well. So again, just kind of like dropping that here and passing it back to Bevin. Bevin, again, just any gratitude that you would like to share, and just any other words of inspiration for the people out there who are, you know, continuing to become their own creators and leaders within the story that we're creating here. So
wow, I loved everything you shared about Patreon. Thank you. That gave me a lot of ideas. So I'm excited to work with that as well. Goodness, we are here in the most exciting time to be alive. We are literally shifting into a higher dimension in consciousness, and we are raising in our vibration, in our energy, and we are embodying the light of who we truly are as a soul. And that is just so, there are no words for how beautiful that is. And I say, you know, just trust in the universe, trust in yourself, trust in your guidance and what the universe is telling you, and trust in your heart, and just keep taking leaps of faith, and let the universe guide you. Just step into that flow and see what magic unfolds. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bevin. And I know this is kind of off the top of my head, but Bevin, do you have any poetry like within arm's reach that you would want to share?
Not
I don't want to put you on the
arm's
spot.
reach, but I
yeah,
can
okay,
share
fair enough.
poetry in the future for sure.
Yeah, definitely. If we're doing the open mic in the next week or something like that, I would love to be able to just invite you to share any poetry, and that goes for everyone as well. So awesome. Bevin, thank you again for sharing and for being an inspiration to myself and many others who are tuned into this. Thank you again.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Go team. All right. So again, be sure to connect with Bevin. I'll post her link into the YouTube chat right now for those of you who are tuned in, and follow her on Instagram, and stay tuned for what she is creating, and be sure to check out what's already online there already. And Bevin, real quick, do you have your YouTube channel up yet? Is that something that we can post a link for already?
Yeah, I have not posted any new material for like a couple of years, but
okay.
My YouTube name is Heaven, or no, it's Bevin Heaven. So if you look, type in that, you'll probably find my channel.
All right, perfect, awesome. If you can post that into our chat here, I'll copy that over, or I'll just make sure I get it at some point in there. So
okay,
cool.
I'll work
all
on
right,
that.
so be sure everyone here go subscribe. Sweet. All right, thanks again, Bevin. All right, so let's keep moving the talking stick around the circle. Again, I super appreciate everybody being here. We'll see how long this broadcast goes. I don't want to, I don't want it to be too long. Again, I'm glad that we're able to do this on a Sunday night and it's not super late at night. I'm glad this time works. I'm glad a lot of people are joining in for this compared to the 9:30 on Thursday time slot. So if this works, quick chat for everybody, quick survey for everybody here in the chat. If you want this to be the regular time for like future broadcasts and stuff like that, drop a 333 into the chat and just be like, yes, this works for me because I'm able to tune in. And again, I know we've got a lot of people who have been tuning in on Facebook. If you're tuned in on Facebook, be sure to connect either on YouTube at youtube.com/SkullBabylon. Be sure to also connect to my Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man so you can get more updates on future broadcasts. And be sure to check out more at ParadigmShiftCentral.com. You can also subscribe to our newsletter as well there, and that's when we send out emails for upcoming broadcasts as well. So again, if you're on Facebook, make sure you don't miss out. Make sure that you connect further and make sure that you sync up. So we're going to keep passing the talking stick around, and again, we'll just see how long we keep going for. But we'll try to wrap it up probably, I'd say, within the hour. And again, this is just the fact. This is just the fact that we have so many awesome people here, so it's great. Okay, who would like to go next? If someone wants to give a thumbs up, you can go next, and I'll keep an eye open for that. And whoever would like to go next, please, by all means, just let us know. And I know we've got Paul Boggie, who's a classic like OG paradigm shifter here. And he's in the UK, so maybe we should let Paul go just because like Paul's like super generous, right? He's like, oh, it's my day off, right? Like I'll just stay up anyways. So okay, so
Percy, let Percy go first. He had his thumbs up. Let Percy
has his hand. Okay, perfect. I don't see everybody's camera all at once at the same time, so that's perfect. All right, so with that said, we'll pass it over to Percy then. So Paul, thank you again, and we'll hear from Paul. And again, just a quick shout out to everybody here. So again, myself, Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man on Instagram. We got Jacob, who we've heard from. We've got Paul Boggie, who is the host of the Way Of podcast, who's been like a huge supporter of Paradigm Shift, and he's creating a lot of awesome stuff. We've got Bevin, who we just heard from. We've got Taylor. Taylor's been creating he's been making some huge strides, getting like events happening, getting like his place where he's doing like a lot of like Reiki work and stuff that I probably haven't even heard about, which I'm excited to be able to hear more about. And we've got Willo, who's been tuned in on past broadcasts, who some people may not have heard yet. And Willo's got some cool stuff that he's been working on and helping other people with content creation. And we've got Percy, who we're going to pass the talking to next. And Percy, quick, like just like pre-story going into it, Percy I actually met in the forest at a festival. It was at the Solstice Reunion Festival, which is a little festival that we have here up in Canada, up in Collingwood. It didn't happen this year, but the previous years we had met there. And again, that was like literally like I was either doing free hugs or we were just kind of walking. We just kind of crossed paths. I gave him a button. We just started talking, connected on Facebook later. Flash forward a couple years, and here we are. And again, that's kind of like how the project works, and that's why again I want everybody here to like get shift buttons. And stay tuned for everybody here. Stay tuned after Percy. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to like win a free shifter booster kit. So for those are like our shift buttons that have like all the cool symbols and like the website for Paradigm Shift on them. I'm gonna give someone away. I'm gonna give a shifter booster kit away to someone tuned in here. So stay tuned for that. I'll explain more later. So Percy, just again getting on track with what he's been creating. Graphic artist, storyteller, visionary extraordinaire, and he'll tell you a little bit more about what he's been working on. So Percy, I'm super honored to be able to have you here and to have your support again on the Patreon and to be able to have you on board as a leading member. So Percy, passing the talking stick over to you, a fellow Canadian as well. So go Team Canada, and go ahead, tell people a little bit about what you do, some of your superpowers, and again things that you're working on, and anything else you would like to share with the team tuned in.
Absolutely. Go ahead, thank you so much. But by the way, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me here. Can you hear me, by the way? All good?
Yes.
Awesome. Right on. And thank you, Paul, as well, for donating your turn. I really appreciate that. Very honored to be here. And yes, my name is Percy Campos, and I am a visual artist for the most part. I have dedicated myself to many different art forms, ranging from theater to film, which is still one of my main passions in life. But life just so had it that I kind of had to have an event where a lot of my equipment was misplaced, so I had to focus again on visual arts rather than film. My story is very convoluted and long, but I'm just gonna kind of keep it nice and sweet. I am currently working on a graphic novel that I've been working on for the last couple of years straight. At some point in the year 2011, I remember I had an event of an awakening, as you could call it, and it had a lot to do with the practice of art, renewed sense of relationship between people, and also the experiences with some psychedelic drugs as well, which definitely I had even back then taken with the intention to assist me intentionally in the growth and expansion of my consciousness. The third try back in 2011 kind of worked. Something happened, and nothing has been the same since. Right. Uh, since then, I went through a lot of different changes. I could not continue school, even though I was on the second year of university. There was a strike that happened that affected all the TAs in the university. So a lot of us had a very hard time in school, and there wasn't a lot of room for negotiations as to kind of continuing the career for many of us. So in a sense, I got kind of tricked out of out of my upper education. However, it did not kill my passion for the art and my passion for what I was trying to do, and the inspiration I was, even since back then, trying to bring into the world. And then I fast forward a bit into the future, and I see myself surrounded by artists talking about concepts such as collective consciousness, quantum mechanics, philosophy, and all religions and everything that links them together in one continuum. And I started doing some performance art as well, and I did some work doing live shows with a group of artists with live music as well. While I started really relearning myself and relearning life and rediscovering aspects of life that I had not seen clearly, and I started exploring things such as different systems of thought and knowledge and spirituality. I started really studying what makes all religions different and what makes them the same as well. What are the common roots between science, art, and spirituality? And my approach always tended to be, and I suppose it is my nature. I really like stories. Stories save my butt, save my spirit in so many times in which I needed a point to ground, a point to actually have a point of reference, a point to support myself during this journey that can be very traumatic. It can be very disruptive for many that may not have the relationships or the systems to really, help them along, help guide the journey. You know what I mean? And I have met many people also that did not have at different points some support and or points of references, and they will kind of spiral and go through a really hard time. And at some point later on, that was myself as well. So I went through an episode where I had to kind of really rework my mind because my perception had been blown to such extent that I needed to spend some time. And then eventually left the city of Toronto, where I was doing visual arts work and I was doing painting and theater. Due to some circumstances, I had to redo my whole life from the ground up. So starting my life from zero has been something that I've had quite a lot of experience in. So the journey has taken me from both the highest heights and the lowest lows. And one thing that many of us keep finding is that no matter where you go, there you are. So no matter where you go, there is the light of wisdom there to hold you. So in many of these experiences, a lot of visions came together like a soup. And a lot of my old stories that I was turning into graphic novels and into films were no longer working for me because I had changed. So I was no longer the same. So I couldn't tell stories the same way. So that was a moment of like inner death that I had to go through. And out of the scattered bits of my previous soul and the scattered bits of my previous creations, bit by bit, as I simply surrendered, as many of you suggested, to surrender to the universe and to that love that is within me and around me. Bit by bit, the vision just came together in 2017 as being this saga that is a graphic novel that has evolved to be 21 chapters. And I decided, like I do currently need a job to maintain the living where I am at right now. So I have a day job where I work at a store. I do customer service as well to support myself. But I also created a Patreon account along with a website that I already had posted online before for my art and my portfolio. This time I kind of restructured it, and I added an addition for the graphic novel, which I am posting online every single month, 3 to 4 pages, done, the art completely wholly done by hand, and with a story that has taken a few years to cook and simmer, where I am putting everything that I can feel and I can process that life has given me, that has helped me find myself, so as to be able to help that process along. And then the idea started evolving a bit more, and I don't want to spoil it much, but one of the main themes about this whole idea behind the comic is basically ways in which we can. I am really a follower of Joseph Campbell, and I like his idea, like a post-Jungian psychology, observing archetypes in the psyche of humanity itself, and his connection to geometry in both physics and even art. That there are. How can I explain this? Um, the whole story is about a cosmic egg that is ready to hatch, and what we are witnessing are the cracks of the egg breaking. And a lot of people are terrified of the cracks because they don't understand them, because it's huge and it's ancient. And that crack is a crack between peoples, a crack between cultures, a crack between different perspectives of reality that for a while thought they were really strange from one another. And so the story is a lot about how do you open the egg and safely bring the new life into this world. So how do you bring a new way of observing reality? And so that's why in the story I use different themes that are translated to different symbols. There's the symbol of the tree of life that has been in so many different ancient spiritual and wisdom systems of the world. And this time incarnated in a couple of forms to exemplify the course of life itself. And also this theory that DNA in and of itself may or may not be one same life form that impregnated this egg of the earth, the prima materia. And in that sense, we are all the same being, experiencing itself collectively. And we are also many different beings because we are branches that beautifully form in these unique and beautiful and special life forms. So in a perspective like that, there can be very little room to, discriminatory kind of perspective of one another. It is a vision that promotes more of that empathy and that connection, not only between one another, but to the parts of ourselves out of which we tended to divide ourselves as we were growing up or being taught or learning different things. How do we reintegrate ourselves and with everybody else around us? And it explores themes about gender, about instrumentality, what consciousness is, the sacred versus the profane, or they're both different sides of the same coin. Anyway, I don't want to go off too far onto a tangent. We'll just wrap everything up and say that there is a graphic novel that has been posted every month since June, and it will keep on going for the next 10 to 20 years, potentially, depending on how that goes, because should the Patreon, in which I am offering also design sheets as well as advanced pages and also details and videos and posts regarding the making and the techniques used for the making of the comic. Should this continue working, doing this in the hopes that I can then book more time off and eventually do art for a living and dedicate more of my time to working on the refinement of my soul and the refinement of soul around within myself and without as well. Anyway, I think that'll be the end of the long paragraph for the time being.
That's awesome. Well, Percy, thank you again so much for sharing. And do you want to just tell people what is the title of the comic? I got it in front of me, but I want you to say it.
Oh, absolutely. The title of the comic is called The Golden. That's what it's called.
And do you want to tell us why is it called that without spoiling?
Well, there is one of the themes that will show up in different parts of the story, and that is ultimately one of the main themes is also alchemy. And there is the idea of turning lead into gold, and there's also quite a few other reasons. There's this interplay of speaking about different colors and their relationships within the color scheme, and in an archetypal sense as well. So there's a theme regarding the refinement of substance. So it is the golden, and also it may be the name of an entity that will show up way later on in the story as well. So
Cool, right on.
yeah, there's a lot
Awesome.
coming.
And so for everybody here, I really encourage you, because again, I know Percy just talking about it is one thing, but to be able to see it will definitely give you a little bit more of an understanding as to like what it actually is. And again, the website itself is percycampos.com, and you can check that out. I posted it into the YouTube chat. And Percy, one thing I just wanted to be able to say, because again, like I'm actually, I think I haven't like read it. I've got it in front of me, and even just like reading the first panel entices me to want to be able to read it more. But one of the things that I will say immediately that stands out to me is the resemblance. It reminds me of Neil Gaiman's work, like with like Sandman and stuff like that. Which again, for those of you who might be familiar with that, like that's like a really like up there comic and stuff like that. And it's not just like how it looks, but again, it's kind of like the lore and kind of like the mythology intertwined with it, the visual kind of like taking place within like like dream spaces and multiple dimensions and things like that, and portals through worlds and otherworldly characters. So if anybody here is familiar with Neil Gaiman's work, who is again like a world-renowned author and storyteller, check out Percy's, because again, like there's the same creative thing that's in Neil Gaiman is like in Percy, is in me, is in you. And that's like, again, kind of like this, like the voice of the storyteller, the voice of the universe, kind of like telling this story, this collective story. So Percy, yeah, I just wanted to give you that like huge, like, call it a compliment or whatever, but again, man, like I think even without saying that it looks like Neil Gaiman's work, just the fact that it looks like your work is enough in itself. So thank you again, dude, for sharing that. And yeah, is there anything else that you want to share? I mean, and again, I know we could talk about this longer. Is there any other content that maybe you're interested in creating moving forward, other than like, I mean, even like video content and stuff like that? Like again, I'd love to be able to just kind of like see what ideas are kind of coming through in the concept of like talking about video, or any sort of philosophy that you want to share on camera.
It's interesting because we could really talk a long time about either of those things, but we'll keep it nice and sweet. I'm definitely thinking of at some point eventually, part of the plan here, and I'm just gonna like it's a bit of a spoiler alert, but one of my plans is, as I finish each chapter, I am going to be working on a budget and a production plan to do short films of each chapter. So eventually there will be a trilogy of 7 chapter movies, 3 of them obviously. And so but I know that if I do it as a short film bit by bit, I can actually rationalize the tempo at which I do it, so I don't have to tackle like a large amount of resources all at once. And go back to film, because it's something I really grew up with for a long time, and I haven't done it in a long time. I do have a short film from 2010, but man, I would redo that film. But I mean, I put my heart in it, and I think it's pretty impactful film as well. But I would love to get back into the form as well very soon. I'm also considering going back to facilitation of workshops as well. I did do a course at Sketchworking Arts in Toronto at some point. I followed their community arts program, where I was taught how to hold space for workshop, as well as other using theater and other techniques for facilitation as well. And for a while, I was developing a body of workshops that had to do with theater and meditation techniques and visualization techniques intertwined for daily life, for like like maximizing particular like superpower sort of like stats, the daily like particular intentions, like. And there's a few traditions that are like really fun to play with. So that's one thing I would love to also dedicate myself towards next year. But one thing I've been definitely working on is getting better at managing my time, because there's so much I could do. I also have a violin that is waiting for me to start playing on it. But once again, I don't do it for the name. I do it for the joy, and living the joy. It inspires other people to live their joy as well, and it creates a safer space for people to feel like they can share their joy, because it gets pretty stiff out there, as you guys might know these days. You might know what I mean, but that's where the warmth of the heart is so important, and that's why I really believe in creativity and spreading that along.
That's awesome, dude. Well, dude, Percy, thank you again for sharing, and we'll just pass it back to you again, just to get any closing gratitude and other words of inspiration to pass off to people. And for anybody here, I post a link not only just for Percy's website but also his Patreon, which is patreon.com/PC the Golden. So that's Percy Campos, a PC the Golden. So go ahead and check that out, and it will be in the show notes as well. And again, I'd love to be able to like talk more about like how we can kind of like set up the Patreon in such a way that will help it build so that you can get supported. And then even just like the possibility of like I'm like is there a way to like almost like create like a without the production having to be too over the top, like almost like a visual version of like the first 10 pages of the book, like with like animated panels and stuff, like there's lots of ideas there. So we'll definitely talk about more about that off this broadcast. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just being able to again just collaborate together, because whether it's the stuff that you're working on or whether it's again for anybody here, like that's a big part of this project. It's not just working on our individual stuff but our collaboration, so like that's where again for quick note for all the leading members, if you haven't yet, please make a habit of like checking in with the Discord chat or team chat and just kind of like dropping in ideas. We'll be having some time during the week where it'll be like blocked off for collaboration and like work periods and things like that. So again, I want to be able to just kind of see like if we set it in the, just like 3 hours in an evening and just be like, yo, let's brainstorm, let's create some ideas. We have a lot of amazing creative people here, and I know there's a lot of amazing content that we could even create. And we'll start off just with memes. We'll keep it simple. Just anyone can create memes. So but anyways, Percy, passing it back to you. Actually, I was just gonna check. You're on Instagram, right, Percy?
Not currently. It is a work
not
progress.
Currently.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, but you are on Facebook, and can we include your Facebook link into the show notes? Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good for sure.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay, so we'll include that as well. And again, for anybody looking, just be sure to check the show notes on that, and you can refresh this YouTube video now if you're watching it live, and the show notes are already in there. So Percy, passing it over to you. Any other just again like gratitude you want to express and just words of wisdom before we pass it over to the next person? Go right ahead, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I would like to thank you, everybody in the transmission here and tuning into the broadcast for being here at whatever point in time. I would like to thank life itself for being here through each one of us. I would like to also thank, we are around here in Brantford, Ontario, Canada. So I would like to thank the Great Spirit, as well as the ancestral blood that is welcoming us in this territory as well. And I would just like to thank everyone that dares to believe in their heart, because it's really needed and it's really important. And in the heart of everyone too. It could get very seemingly discouraging, but keep believing, because sometimes healing and growth can look like decay. And so long as we observe it as that, we can allow that to turn into healing. Like a friend of mine told me once, and I don't know why, but I feel inspired to say this. It's probably like the thing working out. But a really good friend of mine told me once, whenever in doubt, turn your pain into love and your love into art. And art is everything we do, even if we don't consider ourselves artists. Every way we figure out how to walk, how to speak, how to do our day, how to get through the day, all of that is a creative act, whether we realize it or not. So there you go. You're all artists, and thank you for being that you are.
Awesome, dude. Man, I couldn't help but think of Neon Genesis Evangelion when
I love that stuff.
When you're, I know you do, right? Like as if we suddenly just start talking about that real quick. But yeah, no, the fate of destruction is the joy of rebirth. But absolutely no, I think turn your pain into love, and that's a very beautiful way of just being able to phrase it. And again, like Percy, I thank you for sharing your story, because again, I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are just like, you know what, like I've got a story that I want to share too. And if he's doing it, I can do it too. And I think that's an important thing. And even if you're doing it, like, I mean, yeah, like there's the idea of sharing it with other people. That's obviously a big motivation, but even just doing it for your own practice is such an important thing. I just say this to like all the creators here. Seriously, like one of the best things that you can do is, again, approach things from a mindset of practice. Create a video. Maybe even create a video that you don't even publish, that you don't even share, but you just kind of speak on camera and you just kind of like show up, and maybe it's just for you. but you allow yourself that invitation to just kind of like be there, to allow the spirit to speak through you and to become familiar with that and develop it as a practice. So again, that's the thing. I've kind of said this before, but very simply put, you can't steer a parked car. And basically that means that, a lot of people, they're just like, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Just do something. And it doesn't have to be the right thing. It just has to be something. And then you figure it out as you go. And then you learn how you go, and you play as you go, and you adjust as you go, and you grow as you go. And that's kind of like the way how creativity works. So again, for everybody here, I hope, Percy amongst all the other leading members here is just one person that inspires you to honor the storyteller and the creator within inside each and every single one of us, because that is what we are here to do as a community, to support and create. And again, that's helping shift the paradigms. It really, really, really is. Creativity and compassion is so important. So Percy, thank you again, dude. Any I mean, that kind of was your closing thought. Any other words are okay?
Oh, thank you so much once again. Full of gratitude.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Percy. Sweet. All right, so with that said, we'll keep passing the talking stick around. Again, for anybody here who's in the YouTube chat, just let us know how you're enjoying this broadcast. Give us feedback. If there's anything where you're just like, hey, like maybe like if you feel we could be doing something better, or if there's like an idea that you have, please feel free to leave that in the YouTube comments. Your feedback is super appreciated because that just helps us develop it further. I am aware that like we have kind of different styles with these broadcasts, and sometimes like I wish like everyone could kind of be like talking all at the same time, and we will have other discussions which will be kind of themed around particular topics, where it won't just be us introducing each other, but it'll be us kind of like diving into discussion on a particular topic, so you can stay tuned for those. But again, I just appreciate everybody just like showing up and just like listening and being present, and again taking the inspiration that we're cultivating here as a team and bringing it forward with what you do in all the things that you do to be able to help carry the shift with you where you are. So with that said, we'll keep passing the talking stick around, and if we can wrap up this broadcast in the next 30 minutes, let's work for that. Let's set that objective. So we have again, we currently have in the broadcast, we have myself, Brendon, we have Sifu, Boggie, Paul, and we have Percy, we have Bevin and Jacob and Willo and Taylor. Thank you again to Michael, and also a shout out to Rebecca, who was here earlier, who jumped off. So I'll let whoever wants to go next, and again, we'll just kind of be mindful, and I want you guys to see this as practice while also keeping it concise. But again, practice speaking your heart and try not to think too much about time, and share a little bit about what you do and who you are and what your superpowers are. So whoever would like to go next, give me a big old thumbs up, and we'll choose the next person. And I think it's either going to be Willo or Taylor, because I feel like Paul is just so gosh darn polite that he'll just be like, oh, I'll just stay up all night, that's okay. So Willo or Taylor, if either one of you wants to go next, please feel free, and we'll pass the talking stick over to you. So, and they both raise their thumb at the same time. Well, you guys can both unmute yourself. I'll let you guys decide who wants to go next. So you can just do like a rock paper scissors thing. So Willo, Taylor, both unmute yourself right now. Just kind of like you guys can just kind of like figure this out. So who wants to go next?
Taylor, why don't you go?
All right, sounds good.
That was so easy. Thank you. All right, so we're passing it over to Taylor. Taylor, again, thank you so much for being here, for being a leading member, a Patreon supporter within Paradigm Shift Central. Taylor's been involved with the project synchronistically, kind of got connected through a friend. Me and him first met when we did a private tarot reading session, which was really cool. Been following his journey. He's been following mine. He's been getting a lot into, again, like being an entrepreneur within the spiritual path, providing a lot of services, Reiki master, and so much more. So Taylor, passing the talking stick over to you, and welcome to the Synergy Circle once again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so it's been a journey, that's for sure. So just for everyone who doesn't know who I am, my name's Taylor. I'm from Massachusetts, over in the United States, in like the South Shore area. Basically for me, like my journey started when I was like 14, believe it or not. Basically, it's kind of cool how these like synchronicities happen. You kind of follow them. But basically, my mom came home from a bookstore one day, and she had a book that fell into her shopping cart when she was at the bookstore, and it happened to be a book by James Van Praagh, who is like a pretty well-known psychic medium. So she brought it home, and she was like, I don't really know why I bought it, but it fell in my cart. I just wanted to buy it. And I was just hooked. I picked up the book. I've always kind of been into that work, into that like the metaphysical, spiritual aspect. Even when I was a kid, I used to watch like John Edward and all those guys on TV. So I started reading the book, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It was this Heaven on Earth book, which teaches you about bridging that connection between heaven and earth and mediumship and what that was about, and working with spirit, and developing that connection for yourself. So here I am at 14 doing meditations and learning about spirit and mediumship, and learning that aspect. And then I was in math class one day, and randomly I remember thinking like, oh my god, he must have a website. So I went home, looked at the book. He had a website. Sure enough, he had like this chat room and forum. And 7 years later, I was, a good member in that chat room. Like every night I'd be talking to people from all around the world, like over in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, all across the United States. So I have a lot of friends on my Facebook page who have met, all over the world, which has been pretty awesome to connect with them. They kind of became, my family. And my friend who actually introduced me to you, Brendon, was actually from that same chat room. So it's kind of cool, again, like how these things come up years later, and where you end up being. But yeah, so I was in that chat room for like 7 years. And, I learned Reiki in that point when I was like 16. So I got distant attunement for Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 to do like distant healing and self-healing. So I started doing energy healing when I was like 16, and diving into that. And then when I got older, things ended up changing, and I ended up, the website closed, and things just kind of happened. Life got in the way, and I went to the material world of working, and I wasn't happy, and I realized that I was missing something. And I was like, oh, when was I the happiest in my life? And I was like, oh, it was when I was doing, Reiki, and talking with people in the spiritual community. So I decided that I wanted to kind of dip back into that again. And eventually what I ended up doing was finding a local like wellness center, and started doing classes there, more on developing mediumship. Again, with Reiki, I got my Reiki master through there. And I've learned a ton of different modalities, tarot card readings, oracle card readings, angel card readings, numerology. I've dipped into astrology. It kind of becomes like addicting once you realize that there's this whole other life out there of all these awesome, things that tells you about yourself. And kind of dove in that way. So I've done a lot of healing work. I seem to resonate a lot with healing and helping with other people. Like I said, I'm a Reiki master. I've done Lightarian Reiki. I've also done some work with a local shaman. I've done, there's these shamanic healer rites that have been passed through called the Munai Ki, which have been pretty awesome to learn and to be able to pass that on to others as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much kind of like been it. I've kind of been working on that and developing that, and also, really just kind of been spending the last 2 years, working on myself and doing the shadow work and the inner work, and exploring deeper into those aspects. Um, and the other thing I wanted to mention too is something that a friend of mine we've kind of been working on a lot, is balancing like the feminine and the masculine energies in the body. Um, that's just been kind of coming up. A lot of people might have heard about like the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. So my friend Sherry and I have been kind of working on that, and we offer these energy balance sessions to help kind of bring people into alignment. So that way they're not just coming from more of like a masculine or feminine energy, but really having that alignment within themselves, so that they can like have this embodiment of being one with source and one with themselves, that like creator energy. Because when you are as like a wholeness, then you can kind of step into that like creative creator energy. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of a little bit longer than maybe I thought I was going to be, but that's a little bit about my journey and kind of like what I do and where I've been kind of working at.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Taylor. And again, I know there's a lot of like really important topics there that I feel would be something that we could even just explore as a team. You know, talking about like shadow work and everything. And again, like the balancing of the polarities inside of us, super important. And again, I think it's really really cool for people to be able to have, again, kind of like leaders and role models such as yourself, Taylor, and such as I acknowledge within myself, and such as I would literally say everybody here is someone who, like, we've gotten to the point in our journey where we do honor like the masculine and feminine inside both of us in like a very like empowering way. And I mean, like, that in itself, I think, is just like a really really cool thing. And I did just kind of wanted to be able to first of all, I just wanted to say I forgot about the shifter booster kit giveaway. After Taylor, we'll do that, just for people in the chat, stay tuned. But I do want to just kind of again, kind of like reflect back and kind of invite you to answer this question of, you know, tell us like why you do what you do. And you kind of already said this, but I just kind of want you to like specifically answer that so you can practice answering this, to tell us why you do what you do, kind of like on that deeper level. And also to tell us a little bit more about what type of content that you feel called to create. You know, like, what type of content do you feel most excited to be able to create? Because obviously you've been like super like making like big strides and getting things all set up, and I think as that kind of gets established, now you're going to kind of like start to have like a little bit more open space to start like creating additional content that's going to link people back into your services. But yeah, just kind of going back to that question of, you know, tell us a little bit, why do you do what you do, literally in just like a 30-second answer if you can, and then tell us a little bit about some of the content that you're excited to create moving forward.
Yeah, awesome. So why I do what I do? Basically, if I kind of reflect back, you know, like, we all have these really dark moments in our life. And for me, like, thank God I had that like online community and that chat room and people, you know, back in the day, because like those were some of my darkest years, that, you know, this opportunity came in to connect with all these people around the world, and seeing what they have done to help me, and through working in myself and doing the healing work that I do, and being able to kind of do that and be a facilitator for healing for other people and assist them in their healing journey, and to kind of give back to people that have kind of given to me, is exactly why I do what I do, because I know how important it is to have those people in my life. So if I can kind of be that role model and that person for somebody else, then that's kind of like what I'm striving for, and to do in my work. That's why I consistently work on myself now. And then as far as like, you know, like content that I want to create, you know, I'm definitely working on that more. I know I'm in the process of trying to look for my own like office space, which I think is going to be helpful, just to kind of give me that, you know, sacred space for myself to kind of be able to have more freedom and creativity. I'm also trying to buy a house, so there's like a lot of things that are like on the verge of me of like stepping forward that are coming. So I'm working on it. But I think like with the divine masculine and feminine, like that seems to be a common theme that a lot of people are like pulled to. So I just feel like that's going to be something that I'm going to be channeling more of, as I work through that myself, so I can assist other people to bring that through, and like, again, embodying that oneness going forward. I think that's something that's going to be coming up for people.
Awesome, dude. And I think you do a great job of speaking. And again, I would love to just be, because like, have you done like, do you have a YouTube channel yet?
I do not. No,
not yet.
Not
and
yet.
Do you feel like being on camera is like something that you'd like to explore more of?
You know, like, this is how I know that I've done my own work, because if you had asked me like a couple of years ago, I would have been like, oh hell no, I ain't getting on there. But the fact that like, yeah, that I'm on here now and talking, and like you said, it's like, it's fun, it's great to be engaged, you know, with other people in a community. So yeah, I can definitely see that happening more, for sure.
Totally awesome, dude. Well, again, you and everybody here, I think you're a very personable person, easy to get along with, and again, I think it's something where, again, as much as like me being here, like again, for everybody here, kind of speaking to everyone, as much as like me being here is kind of creating this nexus and bringing all of us together, it's with the understanding that each and every single one of us is kind of like can replicate that in their own way. Like each one of us is like a nexus for other people to come together. Each one of us is like a leader within our own community. And you know, for example, Paul has been doing this for the past while. Like again, he started off kind of getting involved with Paradigm Shift, and then kind of like went and started like his individual project that was still like a, you know, like an ally of Paradigm Shift, and out of this it created this whole new like nexus, this whole new portal where a lot of other people started meeting, and then we get to still cross over and everything like that. So it's like every single one of us is like a king and a queen of our own kingdom, and together we're like this nation of kingdoms, you know. So it's a very, very cool thing. And again, Taylor, I see, you know, a lot of great things coming from just like more people being able to like get to see you on camera, from you doing live broadcasts, and just being able to get to meet you and know you. And again, out of that, like, yeah, you're helping people, and you're also building relationship, and people are finding out more about you, and then they're just like, sweet, like, how do I get sessions with you, how do I work with you, and things like that. So again, it's just like naturally kind of builds on itself, and it comes to you when we individually as creators, when we're doing it like from that good place, from that heart-centered place. And I think that's such an important thing. And again, Taylor, I think you do a great job of kind of like making that known as to why you do this. You know, this, like what you said, like this is about helping people. This is about like understanding the importance of being able to have that person there who might just be able to listen, who might just be able to, you know, like give a little bit of advice, a little bit of coaching, but just having that connection, having that community is such an important thing. And there's, you know, millions and millions and millions of people out there who would love to be able to, you know, get to meet people like us within the broadcast. And I think it's our duty to be able to get ourselves out there so that they can see us and so that they can find us. And then who knows, that might inspire them, and then they might do the same thing for someone else, and then it creates a ripple effect. So but that's basically, you know, stating the obvious there. And again, that goes for everybody here listening as well. You know, for everybody here, like maybe you're going to be the person who's going to have like a really heart-to-heart conversation with a friend, and it might like change their life and inspire them. You never know. The one act of kindness changes a person's world, and if you change a person's world, you change their world, and if you change their world, you change the world, which was something that I talked about in my Mo Monday speech. So Taylor, we'll pass it back over to you, and if there's any other, you know, just gratitude and words of, you know, wisdom, and even if you just want to mention, you know, what if you do have anything that about yourself that you want to promote, that you want to invite people to connect with you more on. Like I'm not 100% familiar, but are you doing, is there any online stuff that you're offering, or mostly is it like the in-person Reiki sessions that you're doing right now? So if you can just tell me a bit more about that while also telling the community, that would be super great. So passing it over to you again, Taylor.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm gonna revamp my services on my website soon, but I definitely want to start offering like remote healing sessions, and then like Zoom like is a great platform, you know, that we're using obviously. But you know, I've also done like a certification course to be like a spiritual life coach. So like life coaching sessions, maybe mixed with healing and some other things. So that's definitely coming shortly. I'm kind of working on typing that up, maybe even coming up with like some package deals and that sort of thing to do like, you know, couple month journey type deal. So that way you can kind of see progress with people and kind of be along with them to mentor them on their journey. So definitely working on that. But I definitely just want to like, you know, definitely thank you, Brendon, for having this community, you know, and for inviting all of us on here, because it's been great to hear everybody else's journey. It's been, you know, great to kind of connect with everybody. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And I guess a message for other people that are out there too is, you know, to definitely give yourself, you know, recognition for all the work that you're doing. It's something that we don't often do for ourselves, but, you know, you have to look at, you know, where you are and where you've taken strides in your life, and to kind of just give yourself that recognition and that gratitude for yourself. I think that's a big part in this journey, is to bring that gratitude back to you and to congratulate you on your accomplishments, because some of this stuff is hard, and that's, it's not easy to do the things that we do in life, but it's great that we have a community of people, that we can find a community of people to help each other, but to also recognize that you are the ones that are doing the work, that are doing it. So definitely bring that gratitude back to yourselves. So that's a big message, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Taylor. And I did just want to be able to reply to that. Also, Bevin is jumping off in the next moment. So I did just want to say thank you again to Bevin and yeah, and totally just kind of echoing that. And Bevin, I'll just say one thing real quick. And Bevin, do you want to can I pass it to you just like before you head out? Just like any closing thought? Is that cool? Yeah. Okay, cool. So just replying to Taylor, I just want, because I literally almost had a conversation with someone about this the other day and just kind of like saying to them, and I say this to everybody listening right now, like speaking on behalf of the universe to you, because this is like something that I think we all need to hear. You have permission to be incredibly proud of where you are, of what you have gone through to get to where you are right now. Like even if where you are right now doesn't feel like it's like, oh, exactly where you want to be, understand that you are exactly where you need to be in order to be able to get to where you are going. And you should be proud, and you have permission to be very, very proud. And the universe is only giving you whatever it has because you're strong enough not only to carry it, but to also transmute it. So whatever hardships that you have worked through, understand that that's not just because it's like, oh, that's just the way the universe rolled its dice. No, from my understanding, it's because you as a soul agreed to experience that so that you could transmute it, because you are brave enough to do so. And so for all the hard things that you have gone through, that's just a reflection of how brave of a soul you are. And I want to just acknowledge how brave you are as a soul, all of you, and that you are allowed to be proud, and that you are allowed to be proud of where you have come from, what you have done, and where you are now, and where you are going. So, Bevin, I just wanted to pass it over to you, and I like, I don't know, I feel like Bevin, like just me being able to say that before you left, like there might be something there that, I feel all of us can benefit from hearing that. But Bevin, if you want to even just like add in any thoughts on anything that we've said, please feel free. I'll just pass the mic over to you, and we'll pass it back to Taylor in a minute. But go ahead, Bevin, before you head out, and thanks again.
Oh, thank you. Yes, being human is hard, and it's not easy, and we all have our own hardships and our own traumas and wounds and dark things that we've gone through, and to really heal from that is it takes a really deep strength. So yes, proud of yourself, and we're doing some really amazing work as healers and as way showers for the new earth, and we are so capable, and we are so powerful, and we are so strong, and really like we're unlimited, we're limitless, and the more we embrace that, the more our universes open up to amazing, mystical, magical experiences within ourselves and without in our realities. So
Yeah, cool.
Much love to everyone. Thank you guys so much. It's been really wonderful to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thank you, Bevin. And for everybody here, Bevin, just before you head out, everybody here, just send some love. Like put your hands up towards the camera and just send some vibes. So for everybody here, like you're getting love. So for everybody here, Bevin, join. We're sending love to you, Bevin, but sending love to everybody.
Yes.
but no, you're right. All of us here are just like, oh, for me? It is for me. It is for me. It's for all of us. So for everybody here, let's just humor me and just make some like weird noises and just be like, you are loved. You're awesome. You're doing wonderful. Thank you. There you go. Cool. All right, Bevin, thank you again, and absolutely sending you all that bonus love too. So we'll keep in touch and have a beautiful evening. And yes, looking forward to being able to talk more in the future. So thank you, Bevin.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Sweet. Awesome. So like I said, we're just Taylor was still just finishing up there, so I just wanted to be able to pass it over to Taylor if there's any just closing thoughts of gratitude, and then again just any like words of other wisdom that you just want to be able to pass on. And again, even just what I was saying, like that idea of like, that little idea of thinking like, wait a second, like all the hard things that I've gone through is because my soul is actually brave enough to choose to go through them. that idea, like, I encourage other people to kind of like communicate that in context to other people if they feel it would be of value. Because honestly, like, again, going back to the concept of this project, paradigm shift, that idea can be a paradigm shift for someone. And I literally just saw like someone in the chat, like shout out to Emma, like one of our members in the community, literally like me saying that, she literally just said like, whoa, what you were saying, Brendon, is a huge eye opener. So again, you know, for people tuning into this broadcast, expect to get like a few paradigm shifts as you tune into this broadcast, just from what's kind of coming through us as a team, as community, as spirit, and understand that you can kind of like communicate that further, and to know that like a single sentence, a single like idea could literally change the way someone suddenly sees reality and themselves and their power, is like, that's huge. That's huge. So let's never underestimate, again, just like being able to encourage people to change the way they see their story, to change the way they're telling their story, and to give them those little bits of perception that they can kind of incorporate into their own paradigm as they create their new vision of how they see themselves and their place and their power within this reality as creators. Taylor, passing it over to you. Any just again gratitude and any other closing thoughts that you would like to conclude on, and let people know your websites as well, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm just so grateful for tonight, for just the opportunity to be here, and to listen to everybody. But you know, everyone can reach out to me. TaylorEastman.com is my website. Taylor Eastman Spiritual Healer is my Facebook. And then the business name that I'm kind of using is A Light Between Two Worlds. So that's my Instagram. It's, you know, Instagram.com/A Light Between Two Worlds. I should get that posted on there too. And I guess too, I just kind of want to add that, you know, a lot of times when we get stuck, you know, we might think that we have to do certain things alone. But, you know, just reaching out, like you said, like just reaching out to other people, the community is important. And you never know. It's like, so these shifts that happen, it could just be the smallest, tiniest thing. Like someone just says one word, and that one word can just open up a whole new avenue. So, you know, definitely reach out when you need to. And that, you know, these things can happen, just the slightest little thing, and boom, next thing you know, you're off to this new adventure. So
Awesome. Thank you again, Taylor. And Taylor, can you just let people know your website? I got the links. I'll post those into the chat as well.
Yeah. Yep. So the website is Taylor Eastman, EASTMAN.com.
And Instagram is
Instagram.com/
A Light Between Two Worlds.
A Light Between Two Worlds. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. And the YouTube channel will be coming in the future.
That's right.
Awesome, dude. Sweet. All right, Taylor, thank you so much again for your support and for being here. And again, just super excited for, like, thank you for what you're doing, and super excited for what we're continuing to do as a team. So thank you, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, so with that said, we still have two members here who we want to be able to introduce to the team. We have Willo and we have Paul Boggie as well. And before we do that, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody here who's tuned in on the YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you're tuned in. Again, if you are tuned in on Facebook, we've got about 14 people tuned in on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe at youtube.com/Skull Babylon, and you can find that link in the info of this video on Facebook. That way, so you can make sure that you're getting notifications for future broadcasts, so you can tune in. And this has been a huge success tonight, so I just want to give like a huge congratulations to the team, because again, switching to this evening time is definitely something that is working. You guys dropped those 333s in the chat earlier to confirm that this does work, so we're going to be doing that. And yeah, next Sunday, what do you guys think? Do you guys want to do an open mic? Can I get a thumbs up if we want to do an open mic next Sunday? Does that sound like fun? Have a little bit of playtime with that. That will be dope. So again, for anybody here, be sure to tune in for that. That will be, again, some like poetry, some flowetry, some music, some ciphers, some storytelling, maybe even some stand-up comedy. I got some routines that I'm working on, so We'll see about that. And before we move it over into the next person around the round table, I did just want to be able to go back and mention that I want to be able to give away a Shifter Booster Kit. So again, the Shifter Booster Kit, those are items that we have available through the Paradigm Shift Central project. Everybody here, I think almost everybody here has like received a shift button at some point, either from me personally or in the mail. And again, the shift buttons, they're not just cool swag, they are actually like super effective tools to hack the matrix. So each one has like an imagery on them that's meant to evoke conscious conversation, and each one has the Paradigm Shift Central website on the rim. So what you would do is you would wear these, and then people would like see it, and then they would be like, whoa, is that the Metatron cube on your button? And then you can be like, absolutely, actually it is. Here, you can have it. Check out the website on it, connect to this project, subscribe onto the YouTube, tune in, get involved, connect to the team chat, be a part of the community, be a part of the story. So the shift buttons, they're not just cool swag, they're tools for you to wear and share. And I'm going to send a Shifter Booster Kit to what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to send this to we'll say the fourth person who sends me a direct message on Instagram tonight and to tell me why they enjoyed tonight's broadcast. So my Instagram is instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man, and don't wait too long on it. And even if you're not the fourth person, I'm still going to actually give you a special discount code for the item shop. So you're going to win either way. But again, the fourth person to message me on Instagram tonight at instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man and to tell me a little bit about just why they enjoyed tonight's broadcast. So I'm going to post that link into the YouTube right now, and then I will personally reply to that person over Instagram. But again, even if you're not the fourth person, I'm still going to give you a discount code for the questitemshop.com, which is where you can find the items as well. And also, as we're getting close to the end of this broadcast, I do just want to again remind people that these broadcasts are made possible thanks to the support on Patreon. And again, Patreon is a monthly micro donation to be able to help support the work that we're doing here within the community. So if you're just like, yo, this broadcast is awesome, maybe it's your first time tuning in, even if you're not in a situation where you're like, hey, you know, like money, I'm kind of like putting it towards other things, be sure to still check out the Patreon anyways. That way, so you can at least just still be familiar with it. And I would love to be able to see if we can get one new Patreon sign up before the end of this broadcast. So within the next like 20 minutes, and it only takes 3 minutes to sign up. And if you sign up at the $3, the $5 and up, you can also get a beautiful Light Guardian crystal as an additional pay what you wish contribution. And again, these are exclusive items that we have here within the project. And yeah, Taylor, Willo's got his. Taylor, you have a Light Guardian crystal too somewhere, right? I think, yeah, somewhere. Oh, sweet. Okay, so we all got a Light Guardian crystals there. Paul's got his lightsaber there. So again, there's a lot of awesome value that we're providing through the Patreon. And again, the Patreon is literally set up not just to support us, to support me, but to also support you. So when you sign up for the Patreon, you get support as well. So you can think of it as like an investment, and you can get involved with the community. And again, at the $11 option and up, you also have the option to apply as a leading member within the community, which allows you to join into these broadcasts, which allows you to be able to be in our exclusive team chat areas within the team chat. And it also allows you to have access to me for media consultation, other perks, including discounts for the shop, which happen at any level. And so again, be sure to check out more at Patreon. If you haven't already checked that out, just be sure to explore it and share it with your friends. And you can also get a tarot reading with me as well. And I do the tarot reading broadcasts throughout the week. And with the month and the donations process on the end of, or the beginning of each month. So just know that. So even if you sign up today, the donation won't process until November 1st. And we are currently working towards our goal, our milestone of 150 Patreon supporters. And again, just for total transparency, the funds from that, what do they go towards? They go towards paying for website, towards like all the widgets within the website, which add up, and they go towards me being able to get groceries, to pay rent, to support my livelihood, while at the same time working up towards those objectives where eventually my plan, what do I want to do? I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to go to cities. I want to be able to set up events. I want to be able to document, do free hugs around the world, all sorts of wonderful things. So be sure to check out the Patreon, add your support if you're a fan of what we've been creating here, and know that by you supporting on the Patreon, you're helping us help others as well. So again, that's patreon.com/Brendon Culleton. And thank you again to everyone. Your support in any form is equally appreciated, and a bonus thank you to our Patreon supporters as well. If you have any questions, be sure to just send me a message. And again, you can reach me at instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man. And again, if you would like that shifter booster kit, then send me a message on the Instagram at instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man about why you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. And the fourth person who does that will get a shifter booster kit that I will send to them. So there you go. Awesome. Thank you again so much, everyone, for being here, for rocking it. You guys are amazing. This has been an awesome broadcast, and I know a lot of inspiration has been cultivated out of this, and that's exactly the intention of what we're doing. And then again, the story continues further from here. And again, I just want to acknowledge that for the people watching this, your feedback is super valuable, and let us know what this means to you, because I'm well aware that for the people watching this, just to see leaders coming together is very inspiring. To just be able to see, like, whoa, like the Avengers are assembling, like this is actually happening, and I'm a part of it. So know that for everybody listening to this, you are a part of the community, you are a part of the team, you are a part of this new wave of light guardians, of shifters, of real world Jedi, here to be able to help assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness and rise to that call. So thank you again, everyone, so much for being here. I did just want to give a quick shout out. I know Percy is going to have to leave in, how soon do you have to leave, Percy? Percy's computer is going to shut down in a little bit, so we'll head out. And then we're going to pass the talking stick, I think, over to Willo, and then Paul's going to patiently wait, and then we'll get close to wrapping this up. And then again, next week we'll be back for some open mic jam. Percy, did you just want to say goodnight if you have to leave in the next minute? And if so, go ahead and just real quick, and then we'll pass it over. So go ahead, Percy.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to thank once again everybody for doing this and for being here now, whether that's right now or whether that's tomorrow and you're tuning in later on to, I'm not sure if this is going to be available online later on, but yeah, keep dreaming, keep connecting, keep forgiving, keep loving, and you're not alone. Thank you so much. Keep the heart shining.
Awesome. Thank you, Percy. And I'm looking forward to more people being able to experience the joy that comes from seeing your work. So thank you. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. So with that said, we're going to keep going around. Again, time is kind of an illusion within this broadcast, but if we can aim to wrap it up, I don't want to say as soon as possible, but sooner rather than later is perfect, while at the same time still giving everyone the equal amount of time to be able to share what they're doing, because everyone's voice here matters. And with that said, we'll pass it over to, I guess, Willo. You would want to go next, unless Paul, like, you're okay, dude. Like, you're just hanging out, man. That's super cool. Because Paul's in the UK, right? So it's just like, he's a night owl to begin with. So all right, so Willo,
don't mind waiting because I'm on the,
I know, right? Everyone here is just so polite. So all right, well, we'll pass it over to Willo, and then we'll end it off with Paul, which I think is actually quite fitting, given that Paul's been around for so long. So Willo, passing it over to you, please feel free to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about, just like you can share a little bit about, like who you are, why you do what you do, and what type of content that you would like to create within the future and being involved in Paradigm Shift. So thank you again, Willo, for being here, for being a leading member, for supporting on the Patreon, and for adding your voice to this circle tonight. So go ahead, Willo.
Well, thank you, Brendon. I would just like to say hello to everyone and how much gratitude I have to everyone for all of their wisdom and everything that they've brought to this Synergy Circle and that they keep bringing to the world. It's such a wonderful thing. We need more of that every day. There's a great need for creators to be awoken. We all have that potential. We all have that power. In fact, the world has told us for centuries that we don't have that power, to limit the ability that we can create. Personally, I think that's one of the reasons why we are in this clusterfuck, if you will, and are kind of stuck in a loop. But for me, I have always been a messenger. I've always been a person that was very in tune with the sounds of the universe, and I've always been asking way too many questions, which gets me in a lot of trouble. But that leads me into what I'm doing right now, which is presently working with a couple different people who are also creators in their own right, and trying to help them get their message out to more people, trying to help them get onto Patreon and even into the Paradigm Shift Central to be able to, invoke change every day just like they usually do, but with a greater audience. And one of the projects is working with a lady by the name of Diane Clark, and she's an astrologer and an author here locally in Las Vegas, and she's really influential when it comes to forethought and astrology and energy work. She's a really great friend of an author by the name of Tanis Helliwell, I think it is. And she's a really great author about uh, higher consciousness and understanding that there is more to humanity than that which we have been taught. Understanding that before the present history that we know, how that there was ancient history that has actually been forgotten. And I'm very big into ancient history and philosophy, so a lot of the things that I've been talking about tonight has really resonated with me on that, so I'm very grateful for everyone's input. I'm working on a project right now that's a little deep and a little dear to my heart, but it's about awakening consciousness in the political sphere, and it's actually regarding a website, um, stopthevote.net, and this is a collaboration of a bunch of research from a bunch of different people, authors and scientists, and a lot of different people coming together to share their understanding of the broken system and the ways that we can actually invoke change in this system that we are told cannot be fixed. I definitely believe that the system, politically speaking, can be changed, and it's just a matter of actually putting our energies into that. So that website has a lot to do with uh, my passions when it comes to politics, because I'm not happy with the political system, as many people are, but I've always been um, a mover. I've always been communicating and researching and doing my homework to be able to know exactly what it is that I'm speaking about. And unfortunately, there's more information out there to keep people blind than there is to actually keep people awake. So for me, I'm trying to focus my energies on that right now, while also trying to do other things too. But um, yeah, I ran out of my train of thought. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. If you want to find me online, you can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as Prince Willo. That's Princewillough.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Willow. And yeah, just kind of checking in and stuff. Do you in terms of like content that you would like to create, is getting on camera, is that something that you're feeling the call to do more of beyond just these broadcasts, creating some more videos talking about the things that you're passionate about? And if so, what might that be?
Yes, I've never really been too keen on putting my face out there, particularly because I've always had the energy of feeling that it's not about me, it's about the message. So I've kind of held myself back from putting my face out there too much. And I feel like the time has changed for that, because people are connecting with people. We really need to see that our mentalities are not just within ourselves, that our shared mentalities are actually from a deeper knowledge. And um, what was your other question?
Yeah, just kind of like, like what if you do have any specific ideas at the moment of what type of video content you would be interested in creating, what type of topics you might be interested in covering, or anything related to that. It's just kind of brainstorming right now, really.
For sure. I'd really like to be able to help those who are not as familiar with, let alone technology, but also with the opportunities that, like videos, live feeds, and things like that can actually bring. More specifically, I don't necessarily want to push my message as much or my own intent as much as I am wanting to help others bring their message to light. So if that involves interviewing people, or if that involves just spreading the awareness through the medium that we are given, either through here, through Paradigm Shift, or through any other mediums, because I don't think that there is one direct way. I think that there are a multitude of ways, but it's just about finding your niche and being able to find what works for you and what actually feels right.
Totally. And again, for everybody listening to this, in terms of, creation and ideas and stuff like that, there's a list that I have on the website for leading members. That's kind of like an idea prompt that I encourage people to check out. But again, like one of them, like, you can still have a voice even if you're not in front of the camera. If you're interviewing someone and you edit something together, you can still kind of like create a narrative. You can create a message that comes through there. So I mean, yeah, like Willo, I think that'd be really wonderful with some of the people that you're connecting to, where it's like, it's like, okay, let's just kind of, like help them get comfortable in camera, ask them questions to kind of help prompt them, edit something together, and then they can have that as like a product that they can help use to direct more people back to their work and things like that. Like, there is no shortage of people in wherever anybody is who has like something interesting, who has like some sort of like, like ancient wisdom that they have probably, been studying for X number of years, and now, they're just looking for someone to talk to about it. They're looking for a way to be able to crystallize it into a medium that can be shared through today's technology, especially if they might be from a generation outside of this technology and things like that. So yeah, again, without any sort of content that you're feeling called to create, and I know there's some stuff that we were asking about that we can touch base on this week, that again, you're kind of already talking about it. You got someone who you're working on setting up a Patreon with, who's again a little bit, again, from like kind of a previous generation, but I think that's really noble to be able to like help someone who is obviously like has a lot of value to be able to share, to help them reach a wider audience, and to be able to help them build a community as well. There's a lot of there's a lot of, what's the right word I'm looking for here? There's a lot of value in just kind of like being that person who at sometimes may be behind the scenes in order to be able to help get other people in front of it. It's a very noble thing to do, is the word that comes to mind. So yeah, no, I think again, Prince Willo, I would just like call you, we're all princes here, I think, in some way, but but yeah, no, I again, I really appreciate just you being on the team and your humility, and again, just knowing that each and every single one of us has their own insight and wisdom that we can bring to the team. And I know that, again, it kind of came up in the past broadcast, but even with the poetry that you've shared on the website, there's a very powerful story that you carry too. And again, even though if it's not always said, it's definitely like just kind of like felt through your presence. So again, I really appreciate you being here, Willo. So anything else that you want to share, and what would be like your next targets, your next goals that you're working towards, and any other just like closing message for people tuned into this to inspire them on their journey?
Well, I don't really have an exact date lined up for the things that I'm working on right now, but I'm definitely looking in the future, in the near future, before the end of the year, to be able to bring more people here to Paradigm Shift, and to be able to have more content on the website that is more direct for sharing other people's messages. I know that I have a very deep history myself that many people may not know, but when I was 13, I had a car accident that really left me awakened and really helped me understand why I was meeting certain people at certain times. And I think synchronicity is all about it. And right now, working with a couple different authors that I'm working with, I think they have so much value to bring, and they've actually written and wrote years ago, over the last 20 to 30 years, knowledge that is now becoming the forefront of the future. So it's all about, for me, bringing that knowledge back, bringing it back to the awareness, because there's a lot of people out there that are awake, but they're alone. So if we connect with them and we actually share with them that mentality, and be able to understand that they're not actually alone, but being alone is an illusion, that I think that'll actually bring more awareness to higher consciousness. That's my goal.
Awesome, beautiful, dude. And again, I think it's such a simple thing, but it's such a powerful thing, just to be able to, like, again, I always go back to the idea that, like, we're helping walk each other home, type thing, and again, it's just being there and being able to, like, listen to what is needed. Where does the universe want me to be right now? And maybe it's sharing my story, maybe it's helping someone else's story, maybe it's just kind of like, like, being present to hear the story, whatever it may be. It's all important. So awesome. So again, Willo, thank you so much for being here, for being part of the team. Is there anything else that you want to share? I think that's good. Perfect.
That's all right.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you. And again, you can connect with Willo on Instagram at Prince Willo, spelled WILLOUGH. I'll post that into the YouTube comments right now, and you can check that out as well. And yeah, and go ahead and you can explore more on the main website. There is a post up there from Willo of some poetry, and Willo, if you're around for the open mic next week, might be some stuff that we'll be sharing on air for that. So cool. All right, thank you again, Willo. Cool. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna get close to wrapping this up, but before we do, we're gonna finish the show off with I don't know what the right word is that I would use here. Like, I don't want to just say with a bang, but, like, I don't know, with some sort of awesome person nonetheless. Paul Boggie, thank you so much for being here. Quick introduction. Paul Boggie, he's been involved with Paradigm Shift Central probably close to 10 years, right when we got started. He's been tuned in. He's been a part of the broadcast. I've said this before. He's one of the few people that, like, my, like, mom knows who he is. Like when... Like, I don't know, like, she's like, she doesn't watch these broadcasts, but, like, back in the day, she's just like, oh, she knew him. She's like, oh, that, that very polite, like, funny British man who keeps, like, he shows up in the broadcast every now and then. So, Paul, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. Paul's, again, he's been rocking it over these past few years. Paul Sifu Boggie, you can find him on Instagram. He has been helping healers, coaches, and light workers to supercharge themselves and to help them never burn out. And he is a Sifu of Qigong, healing, and Qi work, and he teaches a lot about Taoism, about balance in the force, and he brings in, and that's why me and Paul get together. We get along so well together, because a lot of us are kind of like this, like, modern Jedi philosophy in a practical way. And again, he's over in the UK, and he has been hosting his ongoing podcast, The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, for several years now, and I've been fortunate enough to be a guest on it multiple times, including during the first episode, and then during, what was it? Did we do the 200th episode?
Yeah,
was that the?
yeah.
That was 200.
The 200 was just a while ago. You did the 100 as well. You did.
I did, yeah.
The first one. You did the year one, then you did the 100 one, then you did the 200 one, and don't worry, I'm going to keep going. I want you to do the millionth. When we get to the millionth, then you can retire, but only then. So,
just book me in right now, right? It's like, Brendon, what are you doing in 5 years from now, right? Anyways, Paul, passing it over to you. Tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you're doing, and again, with that intention of not just what you do, but why you do what you do, so that the people listening to this can be inspired and to, again, take action where they are as creators and leaders. So go ahead, Paul.
Well, I'll start off. You said it. Start off with a bang. So let's start off with the bang. Is my mission, my goal, apart from to supercharge people, ensure that they never burn out, is to actually promote others, because inspired originally from meeting Skull, and the whole point of, I always call him Skull, but Brendon, the whole point is to help others raise their vibration, because you want to know how we ascend. You want to know how we clean up this planet by everybody looking after themselves and raising the bar up and helping each other. That's how you ascend. That's how you're going to make this place grow. So if you are a healer, if you are a light worker, if you have a mission, then please contact me on the show. The show is actually on Facebook. and it's called The Way of Conscious Mindfulness. The link, I know this mighty man over here will send you the link, and we can go from there. Now, how did this all begin? Well, for me, I actually started off as a kid. I sort of started getting these visions and these dreams of past lives. And I was born, I'm a 1970s kid. So to say, oh yeah, I've had past lives, I'm talking to beings from other dimensions. Yeah, that's the quickest way to get yourself locked up. So I learnt to keep my mouth shut, and I learnt to keep this internal. But then what happened around about 12 years, I'm diagnosed. They're just titles, but I'm diagnosed with dyslexia, dyspraxia, and a touch of autism, just for good measure. And but I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was 35 years old. But as a kid, I sort of figured it out. You sort of, realised what these things were. But at school, you were slow, you were this, you were that. So I got bullied a lot. I got picked on a lot because of my learning difficulties to a degree, or I just learned in a different way to most people. And I started doing martial arts, true martial arts, at the age of 12 years old. And I say true martial arts because true martial arts are spiritual warriors. It's not about fighting. It's about personal development. It's about protecting others and protecting people. So I started off in what's called the Taoist arts. The Tao means the way, the path, the balance. And my teachers were they actually looked after diplomats and close protection. They did close protection, and they looked after lots of different people. So you learn different techniques. So I learned Chinese massage. I learned reflexology. I learned Shinchi Shen, which predates Reiki, because Reiki comes from Sensei Haishi. I'm sorry, Sensei Ushi, Ushi or Usawi, depending on who you talk to. And there was already systems that already existed in Japan, and in China that it was called Shinchi Shen. And in actual fact, Xunqi Shen is part of then the Taoist culture. Actually, at one stage went to Egypt, and the Egyptian Jedi, well, the Egyptian Taoists were called Jedi, and the Jedi means the pillar of light, and the pillar of light is actually this energy channel that exists within your body. So George Lucas actually based this information on Star Wars is based on this ancient information. So it's the universe gently slipping that information in yet again. So yes, so through the last, for over 37 years, I've studied different techniques, different abilities. And then eventually what happened, like Skull said, about 10 years ago, I saw this guy doing stuff on Blog Talk radio, and it resonated with me. And we started chatting, and I started becoming friends with him. And around about 3 years, it was 3.5 years ago, we decided, well, I wanted to do sort of something to honor him, and I said, well, look, let's do like a British version, because I'm here in the UK. I'm in London, UK. He's London, Ontario. And say, well, let's do something to honor. And The Way of Conscious Mindfulness was born. And the whole point of that show is, for me, it's the using the Tao, which means the way, the path, the balance, and it's highlighting other people's skills, their techniques, so you can find your very own personal path, way, or Tao. And in the last 200 shows, we've had Tom Medina on the show. We've had David Wolf. We have had Emily Harrison, who is from the Akashic Academy. We've had Dr. Xavier Love, who's a Qigong practitioner. We've had Barefoot Doctor. We've had so many different people, because each skill you learn enhances everything else you do. And that's what Skull himself promotes, is learning different techniques and ultimately raising that vibration, because that's what it's all about. And I think that's about it. That's a short version.
That's a short version. Awesome. Wonderful. And Paul, you know, again, I think there's a lot that you can offer for the people turning into this. And obviously it won't all just be through tonight's broadcast, which is why, again, I encourage people to check out the Way of Conscious Mindfulness on Facebook, where you can tune in for their regular weekly broadcast there. I did just kind of want to ask you just kind of one question in particular. To you, what does it mean to be a sacred warrior, or what does it mean to be a light guardian? Again, we kind of use those terms synonymously, and I know there's kind of like there's an answer that we all have for this, but I just kind of want to give you a chance to just kind of, again, say this from a place of, you know, inspiring those who may be hearing it, and for them to be like, oh, that's me, like I can be that archetype is within me, right? So
well,
go ahead.
So the Taoist arts, there's many different schools in Taoist arts, and one of them is the dragon dog shaman. And the dragon dogs were these originally the Westerners thought they were lion dogs, and but they're guardians, they're sacred guardians, and they have the flower life, which is the symbol I use in my show. And the flower of life is the divine feminine. It's the flower life is 64 circles or spheres, and it represents the Torah field, which is the divine feminine, which is Kuan Yin or Mother Mary, you know. And but remember, divine feminine is not necessarily female, it's an energy, it's a quality. Now the opposite of that, or the complementary opposite of that, is the Merkaba, or the Star of David, triangle pointing up, triangle pointing down, and that is its energy of that is, in China, is called General Quan. In the West, you'd think of Archangel Metatron, because the Metatron's cube is 64 pyramids, and General Quan is a spiritual warrior. And the spiritual warriors, they don't fight, they protect. And their main goal is protection of the divine feminine energy, that quality. So you're nurturing, you're loving, you're caring, you're understanding, you're trying to build things together. So we all these creators here, all these guys here, everybody here has that ability, because if you can create something, if you're manifesting something, if you make up a tune, if you're creating your poetry, you have that divine feminine quality. And also then the spiritual warriors also protect the sacred child's fire, or children's fire, and that means the innocence. So that ability to play, that ability to have fun, that ability to, you know, think up of ideas. We're meant to keep that. We're not meant to be a robot. We're not meant to only focus on certain things and, oh, we have to be serious all the time. No, you're allowed to have fun. You're allowed to have, you know, use gimmicks or have little toys. If that stimulates somebody's brain, if that allows them to spark that idea, make it fun. You know, whatever you create, that is there to be the muse for somebody else. That is there to spark inspiration in somebody else, because we heal everyone else. We help everyone else, firstly by helping ourselves, building ourselves up, and then allowing ourselves to be the best we can be and to overflow that energy, because that's how we change the planet. You want to change the planet? Change yourself. Help your community, help yourself, help others, and build it all up. That's how you change things. That's how you make the world a better place. But as any good Taoist should say, hey, what do I know? Over to you, Scott.
Right. No, and again, I think you do that quite well, Paul. The idea that, again, any good teacher will kind of say that just be everything is information. Think for yourself. You know, like all I am doing is just kind of like pointing my finger at the moon. Don't be distracted by the finger. Look to the moon type thing, you know, Bruce Lee. So Paul, thank you again so much for being here. And again, I know we can keep going for a while. And I know it's only 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. where you are. So obviously we just keep going all night and watch the sunrise together, but maybe for another broadcast. Whereas I'm sure for the rest of us, we're about ready to begin wrapping this up. So Paul, just passing it over to you. Any just again, closing gratitude for everyone tuned into this and message of inspiration, and let them know where they can connect with you. And we got your information in the show notes for this broadcast as well. So passing back to you.
Cool. Very quickly. Well, firstly, I want to say Skull, I remember the old Google Hangouts. We've done it since until the dawn. We've done it.
We've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been going to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's still freaking going on.
That's
So
happened, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
happened many times. But
Marathon.
if you're interested in learning different techniques like Dragon Dog Reiki, Shun Chi Shen, which is the Chinese version of Reiki, Qigong. Qigong is an energy exercise, any exercise that generates energy within your body, mind, and spirit. And Qigong is like apps. You've got a bad back, we've got Qigong for that. You've got a headache, we've got Qigong for that. If you want to expand your consciousness, surprise, surprise, we've got a Qigong for that. So the whole idea is to help you learn techniques that will help you grow and flow. And that I'm on Teachable, which is like an online course, so you can do. There's always free stuff on there. So there's a couple of free videos of Shin Chi Shen and Qigong. And then it goes on to, there's actually, if you want to learn to become a Dragon Dog Shaman, there's a course for that. If you want to learn to become a Sifu in Qigong, there's a course for that as well. So I'm here to help and things, this whole thing about money, this whole thing, I love the whole thing with you and Patreon. It's about, a little bit you can help grow. If you can't afford something, freaking ask me. I will find a way, we'll trade, we'll do something. Money doesn't have to be an issue. You make it an issue. Don't make it an issue. You want to learn something, ask somebody, because you never know. They may come up with an idea, or they may come up with a way for you to do those things. So that's the future. Don't make money a problem. Make the idea a solution. Find ways to trade, find ways to help each other. That's how we grow, that's how we flow. But hey, what do I know?
Oh my god, thank you so much, Paul. So again, with everybody here, we're just gonna get close to wrapping this up, and we'll just go around the circle one last time. Just any closing, like one single thought, one single closing word as we just kind of go around the circle here before we wrap it up. And for those of you looking to connect with Paul, be sure to find him on Instagram, and then through there you can link into his other stuff at instagram.com/Sifu Boggie. That's spelled SIFU BOGGIE. And again, for anybody watching these broadcasts and future broadcasts, like, make sure that you connect with every single person that you tune into, that is here, because that is just going to provide more value for your feed, more insight, and allow you to connect deeper with the other members here within the community. And again, reminding you to be sure to connect also to our team chat, and I'll post a link for that into the live chat on YouTube as well. So for everybody here who's on YouTube, be sure to jump over to the team chat as well, and we can stay in touch there. And yeah, the project just continues to evolve. So we'll just go around the circle one last time, and then we'll just finish it off just with a very short closing meditation, because this broadcast has been about 3 hours long. And yeah, just honoring the fact that all of us need to like get rest and get ready for the week ahead, and it's going to be another exciting week of shifting paradigms. And we didn't really talk too much about like the significance of like the new moon, and then we got Halloween coming up with retrograde all at the same time. So I think all of us just need to kind of like, get our stuff ready and make some memes about it. And yeah, we'll go from there. So passing the talking stick around one last time, I'll pass it over to Taylor if you're ready, and just kind of like simple closing thought of inspiration that you would like people to be able to walk away from this broadcast from. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, I would just say, continue to honor yourself, and then in doing so, you'll honor those around you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Love it. And Willo.
I don't have too much to add, except this is the perfect time to work on us as the new moon is switching. This is the perfect time for us to work on focusing our energies into a positive form. The changing of Scorpio really brings in a lot of heavy energy that can also be seen as negative energy, but as we've learned through lots of research, energy is just that. It's all in the form. So we can use it for good, we can use it for bad. If anything, we should use it to enlighten ourselves.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Willo. And Jacob, I'm not 100% sure if you're there, but if you are there, we can pass it over to you. and we'll give it just a couple seconds, and if not, then we'll pass it over to Paul. So we'll pass it over to Paul then. So Paul, closing thought to go out on for the people tuned in.
Breathe in the chi, the light, the energy, everything that you want. Breathe out the char, the stress, the worry, everything you no longer need, and repeat.
Beautiful. Awesome. Sweet. And for myself, again, just kind of going back to that idea of the most important superpower that each one of us has is the power of the heart. And you already are the superhero you have always been. And the other mantra that we've kind of been repeating recently, I kind of worked it into a meme, is the idea that the light and shadow within me honors the light and shadow within you. So I think that's a very, very powerful one to be able to end on. So with that said, let's just finish this off with a very short meditation. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I hope that out of this broadcast, again, this just kind of like fuels your spiritual battery, and that's the intention out of this. So for everyone here, again, thank you for like joining us, for hanging out with us for 3 hours. Like that's essentially kind of like the vibe that we create here, is like a chance to like hang out with your friends, to hang out with community, to kind of like be at this like transformational vortex here together, to learn and grow and to be inspired and to move the story forward. So I'm just gonna switch a light off here. I'm just inviting everyone to light up their light guardian crystals. Pew, 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 pew. So I'm gonna hold my light guardian crystal. Paul's got his lightsaber. Willow's got his. Taylor's got his. So okay, let's just take a moment here and just connect with our breath. Close our eyes. Gentle inhales through the nose or the mouth. Gentle exhale. Just focus on the breath. Gentle inhale. And gentle exhale. Just allow yourself to be present in this moment. Just bring gratitude into your awareness. Just take a moment here to express gratitude for yourself, for showing up, for being here, for being a part of this team, for being a part of this broadcast, for taking that next step, for standing where you are. Gratitude for where you have been, for where you are, for where you are going. And just sending love, send love to that seed, and just give permission to that seed inside of you that is still growing, and just say to that little seed, just be like, yes, I give you permission to grow. I give you permission to become who you are. And just speak onto your own heart and just remind yourself of how deeply you are loved. Give yourself that love that you seek right now in this moment. Speak onto yourself as if you're your higher self speaking onto yourself right now. What would you say? You are strong. You are divine. You are a storyteller. You are a creator. You are a healer. You are a conduit. You are conscious. You are learning. You are growing. You are receiving all the lessons that you need. You are here to be open. You are here to listen. You are here to learn. You are here to create. You are here to inspire. And you are here to lead, even when no one is looking. So take a couple more breaths here and just visualize all of us right now around the round table. Just take a moment here to just kind of look at all the faces, look at all the eyes, look at all the hearts of the people surrounding here in this round table together. Just feel in this moment. Just feel this ancient mythos existing within us here and now. Feel how ancient you truly are. And acknowledge the bravery of each and every single person here. The courage, the power, the strength, the source. And so, as this meditation comes to an end in the next moment, and as this broadcast comes to an end, let us stand up from this table together and let us walk in different directions to wherever we are called, wherever the lands lead us, to be where we need to be, to fulfill the missions of our heart. And let us bring with us the strength and the courage of the team, the strength and the courage of the round table, of the fellow shifters, of the fellow light guardians. Let our momentum be a shared momentum. Let our courage be your courage. And so invite into your heart that sense of excitement, even within the mystery, and say yes. Say yes to the synchronicity. Say yes to following your dreams, to manifesting your destiny, to rising in courage, to being the superhero you have always been, to be able to help awaken others within the dream, to create with the magic of your heart, to be the bridge between worlds, to teach others about the power of kindness and compassion, and to help shift the paradigms. One action, one creation, one breath at a time. And so, as we conclude this meditation, I thank each and every single one of you. The light guardian within me sees and honors the light guardian within you. And let us move forward from this moment with more inspiration, with more courage, with more love. Let our light continue to shine so that others can see it too, and so that they too can find their place within this story that we are creating together. And at this point, let's just imagine we all put our hands in the circle together, and everyone put their hands in, and then we'll just start rallying, almost like a sports team. And we're just we're in this team, we're gonna do this, we're gonna shift those paradigms, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna kick some butt, we're gonna create, we're gonna give some free hugs, we're gonna be polite to that person behind the cash register, we're gonna think about creating community events, we're gonna start posting cool content on the Instagrams and the YouTubes. We're gonna do this, we're doing this, yeah, go team, go team, rah 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 rah. And then on 3, we'll go 1, 2, 3, go shift. So, okay, ready? Okay, let's do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go shift. Yeah. And then we open our eyes, and then we come out of the meditation. We're all like, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, good job, go team. So it's very informal meditation there. Not many meditations end with some sort of team cheer, but ours do. So as long as you get a laugh out of it, that's the important thing. So all right, so with that said, thank you again everyone so much for tuning into this broadcast, for being a part of this team, for being a part of this community. Tune in next week for I guess, what is that, November something or other. That will be on November 3rd, and we'll do an open mic. It'll kind of be a bit different from this. We like to mix it up a little bit, and that will be again some poetry, flowetry, music, all sorts of fun stuff, and looking forward to being able to have you once again join us here. And maybe if you're listening to this in the future, absolutely please feel free to leave your comments, hit that like button, share this broadcast with your friends, let your friends know about Paradigm Shift Central, let them know what we were doing and what we were creating together as well. And also, you can be sure to subscribe for our MP3s on iTunes at Paradigm Shift Radio. So if you got your Paradigm, your iTunes app and stuff like that, you can check us out there. And the MP3 links are also in the video info on YouTube as well, and you can find those there after the broadcast has aired. And again, be sure to connect to our team chat as well, and that's linked into the YouTube info, and we'll be able to keep in touch. And again, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man for more content, and keep an eye on our team page, Paradigm Shift Central, on Instagram for more content that will be coming its way, including content of featured creators within the community, which is something that we'll be continuing to focus on. And be sure to connect with all the creators here within this broadcast, and go out there, kick butt, share love, create content, change the world, follow with your heart, lead with your heart, and be the change that you wish to see in this world. Each and every single one of us has a part to play within this bigger story. So thank you for showing up and for doing your part. So thank you everyone here for being here. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Go check out patreon.com/Brendon Culleton if you enjoyed this broadcast. Add a monthly micro donation, get a tarot reading, get your Light Guardian crystal, and join us again for future broadcasts. And check out more at ParadigmShiftCentral.com and subscribe for our newsletter. And we will see you again next time. And as always, keep it shifty, and we will see you in the future. So friends, join me once again in just saying farewell. Make some noise so all the people tune into this as we play our outro music. So go ahead, for all the other leading members who are here in the broadcast, go ahead, make some noise, and let's finish this broadcast off with some love. So go ahead, make some noise. Everyone go woo woo woo. We love you guys. Like, literally just going woo woo woo. All right, thank you again, everyone. We'll see you soon. Much love, peace, and wholeness. Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this broadcast. Be sure to check out more of her work on Instagram and SoundCloud by checking the links in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny.